Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts,
Klauss Nightbringer,
Seyrr Kimono,
Chille,
and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 89. How's everybody doing tonight?
Words!
Not enough time in the world.
Not enough ever.
I don't think there's ever enough time in the world. Taliz, you want to jump up on the couch so people can see you?
Oh, do I have to?
Yes.
But I'm dancing.
We can't
We
see
can
you over
dance
there.
on the couch.
You can dance
That
on the
is
couch.
true. I might do
And
that.
plus, we can see you a little bit.
Boom. Done.
All right, so we've got a dancing Taliz on the couch. How are you
I don't
this
have
week?
feet.
Well, llamas don't have souls, so what's the big deal if they don't have feet?
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Dad
Wow.
jokes. All right.
Your dad's a joke. Wait, what?
Well, that's not untrue.
Well, I'm glad you're able to join us again this week. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, man. It's been a wild week. I got a job as a kitchen manager, so that'll be starting up pretty soon. So that's exciting.
Nice. Anything else fun happen?
My car is still in Yokohama, so not yet.
Oh, so no Tokyo Drift for you yet, huh?
No teriyaki boys yet, but soon.
All
Very
right.
soon.
Glad to have you back. We also have a Chille. Hi, Chille. What's going on?
Not much. I am good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. What have you been up to in game this last couple of weeks, or in general?
Eureka.
Ka.
Yeah, Eureka.
Yeah.
I got my weapon finished. I got all my armor to +1. So, some of it anyway. Not all of it yet, actually.
You've been pushing really hard. I mean, I've been in it quite a bit, but I just finished my weapon, so.
Yeah, I got 3 pieces of armor, shall we say, not out all of it.
Okay.
In fact, the chest piece replaced my old chest piece because it was I had a 380 chest piece, so.
Very cool.
Um,
And you.
And I.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, please continue.
And I entered into BA today, and trust me, that is... Oh my god. I don't know how much I want to bring it up here, but it is the biggest hassle in your life. Do you think it's going to be fun? Getting in, once you're in, it's fun. Getting in is not fun.
On Primal, yes, I will agree with that. But we'll talk about that when we talk more about patch 4.55.
Oh, good, I want to rant.
Yes, but you also heard that we do have a Seyrr. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Woo! I had some job interviews for librarian positions. I have not had time for anything lately. Like, I just logged in for... I technically did the Valentine stuff, but other than that, I have not been in much.
Oh, that's
And
fine.
Where the heck did that... I'll be there in a moment. Something happened with my clothes.
Oh my,
Ooh, baby. No, come right now.
that's what she said.
Look, I had to put them in the wash.
They
were
she
smelly.
generally asks you to hold on a little longer. Wait, what?
We are the worst potatoes. I mean, you know what? There's nowhere to get out of this. We're just going to get deeper.
That's what she said.
That's what she begged for. What?
Oh my.
Well, let's not be sexist here. That's what either of them said.
Yeah.
I could ask for it
That's
too.
fair.
That is true,
Hey.
but
We are a whopping 3 minutes into the episode and already off the rails. Good job, guys.
I think
Hey,
that's
Hey,
straight
you'd have to
policy
be
can enjoy
on
that too.
rails to
That's
get
what
off
pegging
it.
is for. Pegging is specifically when it's a woman doing it to you. That's a thing.
Damn it.
Law
God
with
damn it.
Seyrr.
It took like 6 minutes last week for us to go
no.
nuts.
I thought it was about 30
seconds.
seconds last time.
Regardless, we're already there. Oh,
Whatever. We're all
Oh,
adults
baby.
here.
That's very
We
true.
are all adults here, right?
I
Well-
need an adult.
Any
I am
children
an
who are driving
adult.
while listening to us, pull over and get your parents' permission.
Yeah, or something like that. Or if maybe just turn us off. Maybe that's just the best thing to do. No,
Listen to
don't
us on
do
the
that.
podcast later so you can skip ahead.
Yeah, that's a terrible
Put us on
idea
at
too.
work.
Just keep listening because it does get better. Question
Question
mark?
It can only get better.
Oh,
Scar.
it could get way worse.
Scar, I'm 12, and what is this?
Well, when a daddy and a daddy love each other very much.
Anyway,
When a daddy and a daddy are kind of bored. Wait, what?
I've been like
When a
Chille.
daddy and daddy have some free time.
Can I tell what I've been up to?
Fine,
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, fine.
Making the show better.
Trying.
Go ahead, Klauss.
I've been like Chille, and I've been spending a lot of time in Hidatos. I have not yet actually gone into the arsenal, but yeah, I've got my Red Mage 405 weapon. I've got all of my logogram actions. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And as you can see, hopping around there, I do have my little Yukinko
It's
minion.
so cute.
It is adorable.
I've been doing chests, but I haven't got a good drop yet. I have all my Aether flasks though.
Oh, I'm sitting on 9 extra right now. Do you want one?
Oh well.
Too bad I can't give you one.
No, I'm good.
I wish we could do something with those, like turn them in for like credit for something else, like maybe get like crystals or something like that.
Yeah.
Because all of these Aether tight flasks, giggity, basically do nothing for you once you have added your 3 extra slots.
Yeah.
So that's we'll maybe talk about that when we get into the 4.55 as well. But I do want to talk about something that I neglected to mention on the last episode, and it's something that I'm hosting, for crying out loud. So we are less than 1 week away from Distant Worlds in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I decided, for whatever reason, to go ahead and host a pre-show party at Rock Bottom Brewery in downtown Minneapolis, starting at 6 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be myself, Yelta from Gather Together is going to be there. Our friend Nick Nar is going to be there, as well as a bunch of other Final Fantasy fans. So if you're in the area, and if you're going to the show, why not stop by, hang out, meet some cool people, have a few drinks, and have a good time. So again, that's at 6 p.m. at Rock Bottom Brewery, downtown Minneapolis. It's like a block and a half away from the Orpheum, so it's real easy to get there. I am super excited for the concert, though. I mean, I'm just like, I'm like over the moon right now. I'm actually gonna be cosplaying as my Red Mage when I go. Oh, really?
Pardon.
Cosplay makes you sneeze? Just kidding. So, Taliz, have you been to Distant Worlds before?
I've been to Distant Worlds 3 times, twice in Seattle and once in Portland. And then I'm going to a New World, the other concert series they do in just a couple of months.
Oh, you'll love that. I've been to that one twice.
I have not been to New World yet. My friend Samay, who's I think in the chat, might not be here yet. She's going to be coming with me, and she's played a little bit of 14, but she doesn't play Final Fantasy for the most part, so she's coming in basically blind to an orchestral concert. It's going to be really, really fun.
You're going to love it. Nick Nar, Luna, and myself were at the last 2. Yelta joined us at the last one, so it was a lot of fun. If you go there, say hi to Benjamin. He is the pianist there, and he is amazing.
Very cool. I will see. I'm going at like 4 in the afternoon, so like I'm not doing the later show, so I'm not sure. I'm usually, when I'm at the theater, it's usually late, very late at night. And this one, it's going to be a lot earlier, so it's going to be kind of a new experience all around.
Did you get the VIP? Like the meet and greet?
I thought about it, but I didn't know who I was going with as a guest at the time I bought the tickets, and I thought it was really stupid to buy a VIP thing and then be like, I bring somebody that's never been to Final Fantasy before, and it's like, you probably won't appreciate this as much as other people. So I ended up skipping the VIP this time because I live on the West Coast, and it's not hard to get to other shows if I wanted to do that later.
That's understandable. We skipped it the first time as well, but the last time we decided to get the meet and greet afterwards, and we got to meet and talk with Benjamin and I believe it was Eric Roth.
Arnie?
No, Eric.
Arnie Roth? Oh, okay.
Arnie is he's the conductor for Distant Worlds.
Yeah.
Eric does A New World.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
But still, both amazing. So it was a lot of fun. I hope you have a blast. Like I said, so when you went to Distant Worlds, did you see a lot of cosplay?
Yes. Seattle is famous for formal, meaning a tucked-in T-shirt. We don't take the whole like, oh, you're going to the orchestra, you should wear a suit or wear a tuxedo.
Oh,
No,
but it's
you're
fun
going
to be
the-
fancy sometimes.
Yeah, our orchestra is socks, sandals, and Amazon badges. Nobody does that. It's really funny. So there's just tons of cosplay just everywhere. My buddy Jennifer actually showed up in a blue t-shirt with the warrior symbol on it.
Wow.
Just completely done. Just there's no sense of formality for any of it.
Yeah,
I mean, if it comes to it, people going to these things and patronizing the arts is a good thing and should be happening. It can be fun to do the formal stuff, but it's not required.
It's really interesting.
It can be fun.
It's fun for the people that have the like season tickets, that have tickets to every show that's at our Benaroya Hall, that have no idea what half the shows they're going to are. So they just roll in thinking, oh, there's an orchestra. Oh, ha ha ha, the video games. There will be so many kids. And they roll in and there's just an army of white mage robes just everywhere. Like, why does this person have a staff? I can't see this person except for their eyes. This dude has an axe. What is going on? It's really, really fun to watch all the muggles show up and have no clue what's happening.
Yeah, I don't think I'm bringing my weapon with me, but I'm just going to bring the red mage armor. That'll be kind of nice.
I will say
What
that
are
it's
these good outfits?
at similar types of things, some of those season pass holders did actually seem very game for, okay, I don't understand what this is, but I am curious to know more. And they at least were like really nice about it. And so it made it more fun.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that they're coming in and they clearly care about the art form, but they go in and there's a giant room of people, none of whom are regulars, none of whom they know. Everyone's clearly excited to be there, but in a different way than when they went to that Vivaldi performance 3 weeks ago.
Right.
It's very, very cool.
Scar in the chat saying people got very confused by the Moogle cosplayers at Chicago.
Oh my god, yeah, they totally would.
That is amazing.
No, to be fair, I still remember the first fan fest I went to, which was in London. My boss was actually going that year because he got a ticket and he didn't know what it was. And he turned up in a suit and tie. Like
Hey,
full on suit.
It's fun to be fancy.
He's like confused as all the other people are running around in cosplay. And then he pointed at the chocobo and asked what it was. And
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
All right.
Good for him.
So, one other awesome bit of show news. For those of you who are joining us live here on Twitch or have tuned in the past, Twitch yesterday announced some amazing news for affiliates. They're adding additional emote slots for us.
Yay!
So, as long as you have, as long as you're an affiliate, you get the one emote slot. Chille, damn it, you beat me to it. If you have at least 15 sub points, you unlock a second one as of yesterday. And I went ahead and created the pinion emote for us, the rainbow pinion feather that we're using in the new logo. So that is our new emote for for all levels.
Hey, thank you, Nick Nar and Chille, for spamming the crap out of it.
And me.
There it is. There it is.
So yeah, but it doesn't stop there. In March, if you have at least 25 sub points, Twitch affiliates will be able to get a third emote slot.
Cool.
In April, 35 will get you a fourth, and then in May, they're going to up it to 5 if you have 50 plus points.
How many points do we have?
Not enough for the next one, unfortunately, yet. So, if you guys want to help support us and help us get those emote slots, if you have Twitch Prime, you can use your sub to help support us in that way. It's totally up to you, but I'm not gonna say, please do it. So, anyway, I kind of didn't I?
Definitely not like that. People are never gonna.
Yeah, they're not going to come back no more.
But if you, like I said, if you have your Twitch Prime and want to support a streamer, definitely go ahead and use that. If you use it on us, we'd be greatly appreciative of that. So, I just think it's a really cool thing that Twitch is doing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right. So let's jump into some gaming community news. First bit that I saw was they announced the final player or the final character for the last DLC patch, or the season pass for Dissidia NT, they've released Snow from Final Fantasy 13. He has a really interesting mechanic for his character. He is a tank class, and basically, in 13 he is a Lassie. So he basically, as he takes damage, he turns more and more into a Seath form, but his attacks get stronger and stronger the further along he is. So the more damaged he gets, the harder he hits, and his form changes in the game. It's kind of cool.
So it sounds somewhat similar to the way he was in Final Fantasy 13-3, which some people did actually play.
Yeah, actually, I think it is based off of that.
I was going to say, when you were describing it, I was like, wait, didn't he kind of do that in 13.3 where you showed up and he was like clearly starting to lose it and he just got more and more further along in that?
And depending on which day you confront him, he's further along in the process, and so the fight becomes more difficult.
Okay.
That's a really cool mechanic. I like that.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have another season pass coming out to add more characters, because there's so many characters to add into these games. I mean, just look at how many characters we have with the mobile version. What are we at, like 80 now?
It depends on
about 85 or so.
It will depend on how many people have purchased the season pass to see whether it's worth making another one.
Well, I mean,
they might not made enough money to fund the next.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing with Dissidia is most of it was on the mobile, or not mobile, the portable platforms like Vita and the PSP.
Yeah.
This is like the first, or it was in Japanese arcades. This is like one of the first times that it's on a major console like the PS4 in a very long time. So,
yeah,
I remember the arcade unit actually uses the actual arcade cabinet is basically a PS4.
Yeah, and I've played the arcade cabinets. They are amazing, but my God, do those controls not make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about doing it at home is you can remap it a little bit, so that helps.
Yeah,
that's how arcade. A lot of the. I find it funny. A lot of the old fighting games used to be like that. That's the reason why Tekken games would get ported over to the PS2 and PS1 is because Namco would build the arcade cabinets hardware based on the console.
Well, it makes it less expensive,
Yeah.
I know that the Crazy Taxi machine at GameWorks broke at one point, and they actually went in and they replaced it with an LCD screen and a Dreamcast.
Nice.
And they just hardwired the controls to it. And I was like, that is the greatest thing ever, because it was the same game, so they just let it ride all the time.
But how did you get the coin slot to work then?
They put it in the bar, put a time limit sign on it, and it was just free to play.
Oh, okay. That's kind of neat then.
It was a way to take the machine that was currently broken and fix it without actually fixing it.
Give it a little bit of life while they wait to get an actual replacement.
Right. Once they got it replaced, they put it back out on the floor and it was fine. But for that little bit of time there, you could just go into the bar, take a shot of whiskey, and then drive a cab. It was great.
Yes.
Taxi!
Generally, after having a shot, someone else should be driving your cab.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is where you can think, you can go, drink the whiskey, think, I'm good enough to drive, go play Crazy Taxi, crash into a wall, and then realize maybe I shouldn't drive, and then hire an Uber.
It's like, hey guys, we've replaced the DUI breathing machine on the wall in the bar with this Crazy Taxi machine. You have to play for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
if you don't crash in those 5 minutes, then you fail, which is Crazy Taxi.
Oh my God.
All right. So we did finally now get a release date for episode Arden in Final Fantasy 15. It will launch March 26th. And the prologue anime is available now. Like we talked about on the last episode, it was going to be released at Katsucon, and it is now available for everybody to watch.
Very good.
Another cool thing that's coming out of this is that I guess the canceled episodes are going to be written about in a book that's coming out. So there's going to be a Final Fantasy 15 story novel that's going to be coming out in the future. It's currently available for pre-order on the Japanese Square Enix site, but it's not available on any of the others yet.
Still waiting for them to go full Yoko Taro and do a stage play.
Well, that's maybe coming in 14.
Final Fantasy 15 DLC musical.
Ooh. Combination stage play rhythm game? I'm down.
Yeah.
The new theater rhythm with Yoko Taro at the reins?
That would be madness.
I'm telling you, the Starlight Celebration minigame was just testing the waters for it.
I really think it is now, you're right.
I don't actually believe that. I just want to live in that world.
I want to believe.
No, with the current 24-man raid with the weird cutscene robot shooting you in the butt. You know, anything's possible. Show him your hole.
No.
That's not how that works.
What? You turn around and show him your hole.
You are technically presenting the one area he has not detected weaknesses on. Doesn't anyone read the tooltips?
No, I just learned that I should show him my hole.
I don't know what to say to that. So, moving on. Square Enix trademarked Secret of Mana and Final Fantasy Adventure in North America.
Ooh.
A bunch of other things as well. They got Mystic Quest on for one of the copyrights, didn't they?
Something like that. But it sounds like they're in the works of putting out the trilogy of these classic games and maybe remaking them for current portable gaming systems, maybe like the Switch, or we might see it on
maybe
PS4,
for mobiles.
Maybe mobile. So
I swear, if they do something like the sprite redesign that they did, the style for FF5 and FF6 mobile,
Yeah,
hate that so much.
Or
That
Have
was
you
four.
remaster, but yeah.
But I mean, maybe they're seeing that, you know, with Nintendo re-releasing Link's Awakening on the Switch, they want to do something similar with the Final Fantasy Adventure, which was a Secret of Mana game, I believe, rebranded as a Final Fantasy game in NA.
Yep.
Wait, which one? Final Fantasy Legend?
Yeah, no,
Adventure.
Final Fantasy Adventure.
Adventure. Yeah, Adventure was a Seiken Densetsu game, yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Legend, there were 3 of them, and they were effectively a saga game rebranded as Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I was wondering about that when I first played it. I was like, what is going on, and why am I capturing monsters way before Pokemon came out?
And
It was
why
very
am I
weird.
eating meat?
And,
Yeah, that was weird.
and then me, I'm saying, what's a Final Fantasy game? Because that was our first.
Oh, God.
Well, that...
Final Fantasy Legends was the first Final Fantasy game officially released in Europe. And then
Really?
that was followed by 7.
Look,
Yeah.
Wait, whoa. Legend or Legends?
It was a Game Boy game.
Okay, then yes. Because I know
Legend.
there was the one that
Yeah.
was the combination thing that they did as a
Yeah.
remake on PlayStation 1.
Yeah. No, Mystic Quest was our first one. That was it. Sorry.
Oh, Final Fantasy USA with the lead character, Benjamin.
Yay, me! I'm the lead
Exactly.
character. And that was our first one. Makes sense.
Oh, gosh.
It was funny. It went from 7, 8, 9, 1 for us.
Yeah, we got like 1, 4, 6, 7,
Yeah.
5, 6, 8, 4, 9, 3, 2. Like, it got really weird after a while.
No, for us it went 7, 8, 9, 1.
Yeah, we kept getting the weird, like, re-releases of, like, anthologies and chronicles and...
Yeah, the
Game Boy
PS1
Advance.
releases of the original games were our first versions.
Oh, you poor, beautiful soul. I'm so glad that you're here in 14, where we get to have a theme park and enjoy all this stuff in a new and different way.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Hell,
that when we got it
I
last
remember
year.
Port in 11.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All right. So you remember they talked about the Final Fantasy themed wedding back at I think it was a live letter in the past.
Yes.
Well, they did a mock wedding, and Yoshida was the father giving away the bride.
Please tell me the bride was Silken. Please tell me the bride was
No,
Silken.
the bride
Oh
was
my
not
God.
Silken.
He totally would have done it, too.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have, but no, they did the a mock ceremony on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm going to go ahead and link that in the chat. It's in our show notes if you guys want to take a look at it. There's a beautiful Imager album from this as well that I will link to so people can see that. I mean, what you get is actually just amazing, I think.
By the
way,
keep the katana or not?
No, those are just to be used during the ceremony.
I can tell you, you don't have to have the same weapon, by the way.
No, you can pick amongst any of the relic weapons, which is really cool. They chose the katana and the Thyrus. But
Square Enix were nice enough to send this in as a PR email to me.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yep.
I kind of want to cut it in half with an axe, not for nothing.
I want to punch it with my fists.
But if you go through the Imgur album, they show the cake, and oh my god, that thing is huge. And it is included in the cost of the wedding. They said a wedding for about 70 people, including food and cake and refreshments, is about 3.1 million yen.
So about $30,000.
About $31,000 is what they said.
It's 3.5 million yen or 31,500.
That's a lot.
I mean, like around 30,000, which is actually not that out there for a fancy wedding.
It worked out. I counted it about $450 per person.
God, I undercharge apparently. Holy crap.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. There's definitely people who are in the market for something a little less insanely expensive. And I generally approve of people not starting out married life with an absurd amount of debt.
Agreed. Yeah. I had to tell people, look, if you're spending more than $20,000 on something, it needs to come with a key. I don't care if it's for the front door or the ignition. If you're spending more than 20 grand on something, it should come with a key.
Well, I think the front door is the ignition.
Oh. And you have your own key.
Rocket ships, I don't know. But I think the last wedding I did was something like 110 people. Yeah. 2 appetizers, entrees, bread, cake, everything, top to bottom was like $6 grand. 1,500 went to musicians. It was not that bad.
I have thoughts on this, but they can be saved for another time.
Yeah. We're not necessarily a wedding podcast, but I just figured to mention because this was a Final Fantasy XIV wedding.
That cake is so delicious, though.
The cake, the bakers did an amazing job on replicating the cake.
But yeah, the Larchy Hills I Tank podcast, they talked about how the biscuits are double-sided as well.
Oh yeah, they like I said, they went all out on that. So
yeah,
well, as they should, but still, as somebody that's done a couple hundred weddings, sometimes I look at stuff and I go, "You don't need this. You just don't."
Yeah,
but
you don't need it.
I mean, very little of it is actually necessary.
Well, is a wedding necessary?
Yes.
No.
This just came up on r/legal advice. There was someone who didn't like the whole concept of marriage, but wanted all of these legal protections. And it's like, there was a reason that gay people were fighting so hard for this. You could spend a couple $1,000s having a lawyer draft up a whole bunch of things that gives you most of the protections, except at any given time, a hospital or other organization might be like, we're not sure if that's legally binding. Or you could spend $75, go fill out a couple forms, and have a justice of the peace get you hitched. The thousands of dollars is not required if you just want the legal protections.
My partner and I
seriously... This is an entire rant for me.
My partner and I literally considered just getting married for insurance reasons and just living separately, and we're not actually married or anything. We just wanted to share insurance.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that is a thing you can do. You had damn well better trust the person you're doing that with, because you are now entangled with them on a bunch of other things, and this can go south very fast. But yes, you could do that.
Speaking from experience, divorce is expensive because it is worth it.
That is a way to put it, yes.
I'll just stay here happily single.
Yep.
So, Kotaku interview with Yoshida came out recently. If you guys are interested in checking this out, I'll post that in the show notes and the chat as well. Had you guys had a chance to read through this at all?
No.
I did. I skimmed through the section about world visits. And
yeah, because that's coming up in, I believe, April 4.57.
Yeah, very, very soon.
Yeah.
The Kotaku person says, I know some players who are worried that their servers might see a rise in bots when the gates open. Is the team doing anything to prepare for these sorts of things and combat this in the future? Yoshida's answer is kind of interesting. He doesn't believe that there's... He believes there's no doubt the economy will show some fluctuation, but he doesn't believe farming bots would suddenly increase in numbers in all worlds. If they notice that, they will make changes accordingly, but his biggest concern is actually the fluctuation in the market economies of the visiting worlds. But we're hoping...
I think really the easiest way they can stop the bot issue is just make it that you've got to get rid of your new leaf before you can world transfer.
I mean, why would the bots even care about jumping around?
Well, it'd be jumping to sell stuff on other worlds that are worth more money.
I mean, given the volumes that they're operating at, do they really have time to worry about those kind of particular things? They just try
Probably
to get
not.
as much stuff out as quickly as possible. They're not
Plus, the
worried
bots
about
are gonna
getting
be-
the maximum for each.
Plus, they're bots. It's not like they're going to be able to program it to jump.
Yeah.
No. There's also a really interesting idea here of, you have to get rid of your new leaf. Well, literally, as soon as all of your pop-ups are gone, as a brand new character, you type /NAS and that's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's real easy to do.
Yeah. I am trying not to make the comparison to virginity. I am really trying not to make the comparison to virginity.
Anyway, if you guys want to read that, like I said, I posted that in the chat, and if you want to check it out, we'll have it in the show notes as
Well,
well.
I'm going to call that around 5.1. We'll probably see the first expansion for Blue Mage.
Hopefully. I'd like to see it.
Because the original...
Write it
That's okay.
down. He made a prediction.
Because the original plan was for Blue Mage to launch in 4.4, but that got delayed to 4.5. Because the original plan was to have 4.4 Blue Mage launch, 4.5 cap increase to 60. But then because it got delayed to 4.5, there's no way going to do it in 5.0 because they want people to enjoy the expansion. So I feel like 5.1 is the perfect time.
Or
They've
potentially
got enough stuff that they're working on for the 5.0 launch.
potentially at a 0.05 maybe.
Yeah, 0.0 summit, but I feel like maybe a 0.7. It'll be right near the 0.1. Because they'll want people to... Again, 0.1 might be they wouldn't want people to rush so they don't ignore the 24-man raid. Because 5.1 will be when the 24-man raid drops.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what they had their timing as, because while sometimes it feels like SE is just winging it, you look back historically and it's like, no, most of this was pretty well planned.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few issues where they were running behind the schedule, so they had to adjust accordingly. But for the most part, they've kept pretty well on schedule with
Healers
most of what they
adjust.
wanted. I mean,
God damn it.
the biggest delay being Eureka.
Yeah.
Well, no, remember one of the other bigger delays was the actual 24-man raid. Because remember, it was scheduled to launch with Realm Reborn, and then they delayed it for a patch or two.
Yeah, I'm talking about in this particular expansion. But yeah, they were supposed to have Crystal Tower ready to go at 2.0.
Yeah.
Kind of
And
glad
that-
they did.
In some
honestly.
ways, by delaying it, they completely that's how they set this patch schedule.
They accidentally created their own schedule.
Yeah.
That is how life works sometimes.
Hey guys, this is
Oftentimes.
the last game our company's ever making. What should we name it?
Yeah.
A Final Fantasy.
And then here we are,
30 years later.
30 years later, with 2 different orchestral concerts and 15 numbered entries, another 80
And movies.
plus entries, movies all over the place, terrible anime all over the place. Like, we've got so much.
Hey,
that
come
has
on.
this
The
banner on it.
Magun has unthawed.
No, it hasn't. It's still frozen, just like the rest of the plot.
I liked that. Give me a break.
I still got to watch the anime one day. I must find it.
It's very different, but I will say that, yeah.
That's good.
That's the Final Fantasy V-ish one?
No, that's Final Fantasy V is Legend of the Crystals. It's an OAV. It's like 4 episodes.
Yeah, this is
Right.
Final Fantasy Unlimited.
Oh,
Fantasy-
the guy with the weird summon gun?
Yes.
Yep. Guy with
Okay.
the weird summoning gun that barely makes any sense. You can look up just the gun summons on YouTube and you'll
Oh my
see,
god,
like,
imagine if
90%
Gunblade
of the
was a
show.
summon job.
Oh god, no! Don't give people ideas! What are you doing, Chille? No!
Oh my god.
I
that would
was
be
actually
so
basing Blue Mage on that. Blue Mage is going to be the gun job class using Ma
They
gun
already did that in
skills.
10-2.
What can I do for you?
Look, the Gunner Mage was the Blue Mage one. They used specially made guns that fired the spells that you learned from monsters. This was a thing.
It was, and 10-2 was one of the best Final Fantasy games. So
Absolutely was.
To make fun of, yes, you're correct.
I'm with
to
you,
play.
Klauss.
It was delightful. It didn't take itself too seriously.
And it had one of the best battle systems.
Yeah, like the mid-battle job changing was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, strategically, it was interesting, plus the transformation sequences were just fun. And you could turn them off if you got tired of them.
Yeah.
Seyrr liked Final Fantasy Princess dress up. Okay.
Yes.
Yes!
Yeah.
Why did you like 14 so much?
Why do you think 14 is endgame glamour?
Exactly. It didn't take itself too seriously. It had one of the most badass Final Fantasy characters of all. Yuna is a fucking badass and is deeply underappreciated by most people. She volunteered to get married just to get close enough to Seymour to send him.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty rad. I will give you that.
She was goddamn determined to do everything she could, up to and including sacrificing herself, until the moment she found out it would be pointless, and then she was like, fuck no, we are tearing down this religion and putting together something better.
And
Like,
then
I
she
have
was
an
a sky.
entire diatribe about this. Yuna is amazing.
And then we
All right,
got
who
dress
flicked-
spheres. Moving
Who
on.
flicked a match at Seyrr's gas can? Holy crap.
Like, I haven't been this angry since last night when Anonymous claimed that anchovies were, like, the equivalent of individually wrapped slices of cheese for foodies. And I may have...
Well,
He said he knew that he was intentionally provoking me. I may have been going for a while about that. Anchovies are amazing. They are little umami bombs.
wait, what? But okay.
Hi.
They're delicious, but holy crap, Seyrr.
I have so many opinions.
Sir,
Oh,
I've
yeah,
never
yeah.
been happier. I've never
Nick Dar in the chat, the flaming hot fang cardinal red, deep blood of a hurricane, dark crimson, and finally the strength of steel, burnt sienna, scorch, I summon you, Ifrit.
For a moment, I thought he was describing my rage cooking and or you.
I could have skipped the last sentence and just said it was about you.
been. Sir, I couldn't be more happier about you.
Yay!
Oh,
About Yuna or about anchovies?
yes.
Why not both?
Okay.
All right, so how about that little Ladies' Day event that was announced?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a thing.
Oh, right, we play a video game. Cool.
So, Chille, how much of this did you actually predict or data mine, huh?
Well, just because I guessed the thing that was happening doesn't mean I data mined or know anything about the future of the game.
hacks.
It was a long time ago that I announced it on the podcast as well, wasn't it? It's crazy.
But yeah,
Who
so
would have funked it?
starting on Thursday, February 28th, through Wednesday, March 13th, the seneschal of a certain noble family has lost his charge amidst the crowds of Ul'dah. He wishes for nothing more than to bring her home safe and sound, but the lady herself has greater ambition this little lady's day. So we get a flower wreath headpiece.
You're welcome.
It's a little surprising given that the past few they've been focusing on the idol group.
Yep.
Though maybe they wanted to get back to the event's roots.
Though, you got to remember, last year they said this might be the last time we see them.
Yeah.
They did mention
Plus, you
that
can
in
see that.
dialogue.
Can't you see the idol in the artwork as well? I feel like they're going to make a cameo in some way because the idol group seems, looks like it's in the actual artwork.
They're in the artwork, but yeah, actually that is them, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
It's just-
100% the three of them.
It's a very different art style, though, but I do appreciate
Yeah.
it.
So I expected them to be singing, but that might be like a repeatable quest again, just that they throw in.
Well, yeah, possibly. But I really like the items that we get for the housing. We get festive sushi balls. Off put by oblongitudinal portions of regular sushi? Well, your prayers have been answered. All the fresh fish and vinegared rice you love, ham-fizzed into semi-sophisticated spheroids, perfect for popping. That's something you'd put on your menu there, Taliz?
Absolutely not. I like onigiri, but I don't like super pretentious onigiri, and this looks like it's trying so hard.
They also have a festive chirashi sushi.
That looked bomb. I would 100% do that.
Almost identical to normal chirashi sushi, but with markedly more festivity.
I mean, that first one, isn't that just tamari sushi? Let me see if there's a picture handy.
Yeah, it's actually they link or they have the items on the event page, which I linked. And then we also will get a magic prism daisies, which will create a bunch of like falling daisies.
Flower petals, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes,
Which
you
I'm
are,
guessing
you are
these are available.
you are right, Seyrr. It is temari sushi. It's a specific style of sushi. It's okay. It's very different than nigiri. It's very different than rolls, which are largely a Western thing, honestly. It's good, but it's honestly designed more for the artistic show off and show off the quality of like your knife skills and how you can build things more than the actual taste and depth of flavor.
Yeah, it's more of the pretentious type sushi.
Hey! Do we need to launch into my rant about how presentation is absolutely an important part of things because he tastes with your brain, not your tongue? We can do that.
No,
The typical runtime
because
is about
no.
12 minutes.
Breathe. It's very true,
Okay.
and presentation does matter. But if you're coming around with 3 sauces bottles and spreading stuff with the back of the spoon and like just ignoring any and all like product waste so that you can get your shapes correct for your product, that's too much work, dude. Make food. Seriously. It's not that hard.
I mean, I wouldn't have this all the time, but if you're doing a special occasion kind of thing, it totally
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense.
No, if you're going to do something for special occasion, like absolutely. But dude, I just bought bone marrow bones today. I'm not doing that weekly. You crazy. But for a once in a while thing, sure, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think it's neat, but this is definitely not something that I would expect to eat every day. Or
God.
even close to like once a month or something.
As somebody that's lived in Japan, it's like maybe once a year, maybe once in 5 years.
Yeah. It is a special occasion thing.
Exactly.
Am I wrong just to want a sushi burrito right now?
Weird feelings about those.
As a fusion food guy that makes a lot of weird fusion food, I'm kind of okay with it. But from the traditionalist standpoint, it is just an absolute atrocity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is the most Americanized thing, sushi related culinary item that has been invented.
Though, I mean, how many things are like kind of, hang on, getting the words right, that are kind of considered traditional at this point, started out as fusion cuisines of their own?
Absolutely.
Tempura was that, wasn't it?
Wait,
Tempura
guys. You telling me these aren't jelly donuts? Pokemon
Ah!
told me everything wrong.
Nah. Oh, God.
There was a joke in an anime convention staff email at one point that says we will be having, I think they said we're having jelly donuts and hot dogs. Everybody's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why are we catering with that? And we got there and it was melon pan and onigiri.
Yep, sounds about
Depending
right.
on who was paying attention in Pokemon and who was paying attention in Final Fantasy VIII. It was really, really good. They got a bunch of people. A bunch of people didn't quite catch on until they showed up, and then it all clicked. It was magical.
All right.
I'm gonna have some of my famous jelly donuts.
No, you're not.
All right. So, Seyrr, did you have a chance to go through and do a gacha roundup?
So, I mean, I can give you a quick rundown of stuff. Let's see, Brave Exvius, they are finishing up the Ignacio event. That is the Sworn, not the Sworn 6, the, God, what's the one? It's 8. It's not, I can't remember the term for them, but he's the one of fire. Lots of support stuff for that. They're also having a Fan Festa event where there's a chance to get Aurora Frivia, which the people who did attend Fan Festa received for free. Record Keeper has just started their Kingdom Hearts event, which is also the introduction of the Awakening Soul Breaks. I got Sora's Awakening on my first try, which I am very pleased for, and then threw 3 rolls at the thing for today's and didn't get a single thing for Roxas, even though he's totally better than Sora. Why do we have to have Sora instead of Roxas? Roxas is cuter and less of a dork. There's a supercut of all the times that Sora says huh in Kingdom Hearts. It's a lot.
Huh.
So anyway.
Darkness.
But so they do have the Kingdom Hearts event going on right now, and we're getting close to I forget the exact name of the event, but it's one where the Awakenings are formally introduced. This is the next level of absurd power creep. Hang on. Mobius is having a boosted summoning rate for the Supreme cards again. They're also having their Battle Tower event featuring the Ultimate Heroes, where Gilgamesh is supporting you, and you're facing off against a lot of the ones like Tidus, Lightning, all that other fun stuff. And then for Defu, they're finishing up with their anniversary celebration. They just started the 4th week of that. We also have the Leon event has arrived, and we've got Furion's X weapon coming up for that. I'm not sure what's next on the docket for that, actually.
Did you get your Furion X?
I did not.
I got mine upgraded now.
Nice.
I'm up to 8 X weapons now, I believe.
I think I'm still ahead of you, but not by a lot.
Yeah, I didn't get Squalls, or there's a couple I didn't get.
We'll trade notes later.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
And yeah, that's about what's running right now.
Lots of good stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as in 14, we just got patch 4.55. We are about 2 weeks into that now. The biggest things that we got out of that were the new Eureka map, Hydatos, and the end of that storyline, as well as a new map for Rival Wings, Hidden Gorge. Now let's start with Rival Wings, because that's probably not going to take nearly as long. Any of you guys tried that yet? Crickets?
No.
Crickets.
No.
Crickets.
Absolute crickets.
To be honest, I want to try it, but I keep forgetting.
I did go into it once, and I got my ass handed to me. Our team lost pretty badly, but it was fun. The mechanics are interesting. I haven't really explored all of the mechanics of the new map, but there is a giant train station in the middle. The train goes by on a regular schedule, dropping off power-up items and things like that. If you have control of the station, you can get more ceruleum to get more mechs out and have all that fun stuff going. The Goblin Mercenary is kind of cool. You go and you beat him up, and the team that does the most damage to him, he works for them, and then he just kind of runs the lane and helps take down the opposing team's tower, as well as any of the mammoths that are running there. And it's very similar to the other version. You've got a tower on the north, a tower on the south, and then your core. First team to knock out the other team's core wins. But interesting. I like it, and I will probably get into it a little bit more, but like I said, I've been working to try and get more gear from Eureka, because that has been surprisingly fun. Would you agree on that, Chille?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this tier of Eureka. It's probably their best.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll talk about what I don't like about it in a bit, but who else has tried out Hydatos? I know, Seyrr, you're still working on Pagos?
Yep.
What about you, Taliz? I haven't asked you in the past.
I have not unlocked Eureka at all.
So you can take a nap during this, or like I said,
I am completely useless. It just held no interest
you're
for me,
wearing...
so I didn't bother.
You could give an outsider's opinion on what you're seeing of it.
Oh no, I absolutely can. I have a lot of friends that are doing it, and they've talked about it. My friend Lance Eddy is completely caught up on everything, but I look at it and go, I'm really, really, really happy that I don't play 11 anymore. I don't see a reason to go back into it. Plus, because I didn't get in kind of on the ground floor, it took a little while. It was like, my friends were like, oh, I wanted to, and I went in, there's nobody there. But now, apparently there's more people going back and doing it a second or third time. Mm-hmm. So it is more spread out, and there is population. But when I first looked into it, it didn't look interesting. The second time I looked into it, where I needed to be, there was no one. So it was kind of tricky to get into.
Yeah.
That being said, I do feel like putting it into the game has created a couple of good things. Like, we have a relic weapon again that's a little bit different than the last two that we got from Heavensward and Realm Reborn.
We're not making it inadvisably sentient.
Right.
Go do Fate. Now go to more fates.
Now go get 3 Atmas and just gross. But I also have one issue where a lot of the mentors, a lot of the endgame people that would normally be doing expert roulette and such, are now spending hours upon hours upon hours in Eureka, and they're not out on the world map, and they're not in roulettes, and they're not doing mentor stuff. And instead, people are locked into Eureka for a crazy amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it as a really interesting piece of content. I'm glad that a lot of people have found some solace in it and are finding it fun, but definitely not for everybody. But that being said, neither is endgame raiding, neither is crafting. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this game. You don't have to do all of it.
But I agree with the duty finder stuff. The old relic, as boring and unoriginal all the ideas were, it was a good way to force you to do the old content, which meant you'd help some new players through it. So you'd help them, and in return, you're getting your weapon done. So it's interesting having it split off.
Yeah, I understand that's what the intention was. I wonder if that's how it ended up working in practice. I know a lot of people would get impatient if they got matched with newer players because it was slowing down the speed of things.
Well, no, because a lot of people would, especially once they added unsynced, would just do the older content in the party finder group.
Yeah.
Really, the only bit that was any use to help older players was when it was when you were forced to do the fates, just because you couldn't unsync that, you had to sync to it and do it with the other people. So it meant the other world was a bit more lively. So.
Yeah, in some spots I would say that, but a lot of times the fates that they chose for those were the ones that never seemed to spawn at a regular time.
Yeah, but that you still had to camp to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a good idea. It was just that you could see where their good intentions were.
But, that being said, I think it was a much better idea than to take the relic, put it into another set of instance content, then do another set of instance content for the next step, and then another set on the next step, and then finish it off on a 4th different instance with a totally different leveling system, a totally different item system, and like I said, the idea is fun, but it's also extremely annoying, the fact that you're locked in there for up to 3 hours, running around either sitting AFK, which is what half the people do, running just a few bunny fates and then running to NMs when they happen to spawn, or, like I said, they got a little bit better with the Hidatos, but with a lot of those, it's people are, once you hit level 60, you are waiting in a Discord channel for people to get all in the same instance, and then waiting for the that particular fates to pop up, kill that boss so you can get into the Baldezin's
Well, you don't
arsenal.
have to worry about that, because if you're not in BA, there's not a group in BA that often actually spawns every 30 minutes on the dot.
That's true, but it's still, I mean, I've heard of people taking 2 to 3 hours just to get into the same instance.
Took us 2.5 hours to get into the instance together.
And then you're limited on or was everybody at a full 3 hours at that point?
What do you mean? No, you have to constantly leave and come back.
Yeah, so you're all had your full 3 hours.
Yeah. What the benefit is, though, is if you're in BA, it'll actually extend your timer.
Oh, it does.
Really?
Yeah. So you're not going to be screwed over by the timer that the instance gives you. You'll actually, and every time you beat a certain boss fight, you'll actually extend your BA timer as well. Realistically, that's not any of the issues you're going to have in BA. Is the time that you're never going to have to worry about time.
But I mean, where the problem's going to come is the actual real life amount of time you're spending in there just to get to it.
Yeah, we had some people leave while we're waiting. Normally, I wouldn't have been able to do it because it's a Saturday. But yeah, normally I wouldn't be able to do it because weekdays, but because I did it today on a Saturday, it wasn't too much of an issue. But yeah, 2.5 hours of constantly leaving and.
So that's basically 2.5 hours wasted.
Yeah.
Shouting in the dunes for a group.
It was worse because actually half an hour in, we actually all got in the same group, but someone didn't notice that and left, so that screwed us over.
That's dumb.
So we then had to redo all of it again.
All right. With that bit being said, let's actually talk about what we got with Hydatos.
Okay.
So, the level cap for Hydatos is maxed out at 60. So we have to just get from 50 to 60. And I think SE did a great job in making the leveling, very, very fluid. It didn't take that long for just your average person to be able to level up. Mobs gave insane amounts of XP, especially if you were doing ones 6 to 7 levels higher than you in a group. I mean, we were getting
6 levels is the sweet spot.
Yeah, I think on a chain 30, I was getting at max 4 million XP per kill.
Yeah,
it was insane. For instance, and if you take that to what you would get for killing an NM mob at like level 51, you get maybe 10 million XP.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. I know Avni gives a very low amount of XP for lower level characters. It gets better as soon as you get up to level 59, but no, the leveling...
Avni's only good because it's like a bonus every 30... You know it's going to be there every 30 minutes.
Yeah. But it was good. The leveling was fast. I don't think, for the most part, not all of the mobs seem to want to spawn on a regular basis. I mean, they're not all, kill X amount of mobs.
Yeah.
Some of them have, a few mobs you have to kill, like the lower level ones will spawn a lot more frequently. I've only once seen the lion spawn. I have not seen Cedo spawn at all.
I think I've seen Cedo spawn once.
And I've only gotten, I think 5 PW spawns. Maybe 6.
A second.
The first time we saw him, we got owned. It was hilarious.
I've seen 5. Yeah, I've seen 6 because we wiped on one of them.
Yeah, that was the one where you and I were in the same instance.
Yeah, spawned on a dead instance.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah. We tried it, and I think we maybe got it to 70% before everybody died. But then again, I was only level 51 or 52 at the time.
Yeah.
You were like level 58, 56 or 58. You were higher than me, but you weren't 60 yet. Because that was, what, like Wednesday of last week?
Yeah.
It had just started, so.
Well, because I got to 57.
Maybe.
I just did the sprite farm.
Oh, see, I was actually doing. We didn't do sprite farm,
I sprite farmed at 58. Sorry, I was close to 59, and I wanted to get 60 before I went to bed, so I just did the sprite farm.
Yeah, we actually didn't do sprite farm. We went and did claw farms, I think, because we were trying to get it to PW to spawn again.
In case you want to know what sprite farming is, what you do is you get naked, you run into a load of sprites, you cast reflect, and then they kill themselves.
Yeah, it's a different version of reflect farming like they would do in Pyros.
It's good because...
Is there a particular reason that you need to be naked?
Because the damage you take is the damage they take, so by getting naked, you've got no defense.
Oh.
Yep, so you're taking a lot of damage, so basically you're reflecting like 99999 damage back at them.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then they
so
melt.
you can use level 1 glamour gear if you wanted, but who can be bothered?
I mean, I don't want to be running around Hydatos looking like a hussy. Also, I find it most appropriate that the water aspected place is the one where the XP flows.
Yeah.
But it flows up.
Thank you, I'll be here all week.
And it flows up.
Man, those upward flowing waterfalls still freak me out.
Even the rivers go upwards.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the river streams go up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, all the water flows backwards.
Except for the rain.
The rain does fall. It doesn't go up.
That would be weird, but cool.
I think they should have made it do that. That would have been awesome. The map itself is extremely open. I mean, it is the exact opposite of Pagos. Like, seriously, the exact opposite. It's basically a giant rectangle, and there is plenty of room to move between mobs. Or mob groups, I should say.
Yeah, you don't aggro as much in this as the last one. Really, apart from the second crystal, most of it's pretty easy to get around.
Yeah, that east side is a little bit more tricky because that's where the highest level mobs are, levels 60 through 65.
Yeah.
But with, like I said, again, that being said, there's generally gaps between the groups of spawn mobs. You know what I'm trying to say. But so moving
And
around.
that's how
is
you become
really
a level 100 mafia boss.
Yeah. We've just added Yakuza to this game.
Well, it does have my job.
It does. Other than that, like I said, I think I like the different mobs that they're using for the Fate bosses. Ovni is a really nice throwback to 11. Like I said, I haven't personally yet set foot in the Baldesian Arsenal, but the fact that they have Absolute Virtue in there, it's really cool.
Have you seen the support Fate yet?
Yeah, so I have gotten the support Fate with the I think they were called Sharks in 11, but they're basically like manta ray kind of things.
Flabo. I aggroed a lot of them on the way to Limbus, often on purpose because I needed Flabo organs for something or another, and it was so much easier to get the other people to kill them. After a while, they just started letting me die.
Please, if you're a tank or a healer, I don't know if range can use it. I know close range melee can't use it. Please bring Feint to that fight. Please bring Feint.
Feint and Dispel.
You really need it because otherwise you're just gonna fail the fight.
Yeah, and if you don't have Dispel, the shock spikes are gonna kill everybody.
Not that, but it has Mighty Strikes as well.
And oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Watch out for fluorescence! Dispel fluorescence!
Yeah, Dispel Fluorescence, that's in it.
Yeah, Ovni has fluorescence.
Yeah, there's like lots of 11 flashbacks there.
The Sharks have dual cast as well. They do, was it Aragon Thunderger, if I'm rightly?
Aeroga and Tornado too.
That's it, Tornado too.
Yeah, so if they dual cast and they cast one, you have to get in or out, and then the opposite on right away. Like literally, there's no cast bar, there's no AOE marker. It's just it happens. So many dead people, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. And I've seen it dual cast Meteor as well.
Oh yeah, careful of the meteor.
Yeah,
it's a fun Fate. I'm enjoying a lot of what's in there. But like I said, it would also be nice if we didn't have to have this big separate instance for it.
Yeah. Can I talk a bit about what I enjoyed from BA? Because I only really did the first two.
Sure.
Because I did AV, but we didn't clear it. So I went left because you got a choice between going left or right. The left boss, if I'm right, was you fight Demon Wall, which is a trash mob actually. And then you got to fight a load of trash before you go fight the first boss, which was called Artie. It looked like a jailer to me, but I can't remember which jailer it was. But it had some interesting mechanics. It would change its element. And when it changes its element, there's a load of spears around the outside. You have to run to the opposite element it is to be in the safe spot. So if it changed to fire, you have to run to the ice element to save yourself. And then after beating him, there's a few more trash mobs and a few more chests. All the chests have chances to drop the glamour weapons or the items for the Kirin Zasodo and the V-Claw, by the way. Just they're very rare. Normally you'll just get Eureka Fragments and Obscene Logograms.
Wait, there's the actual V-Claws? Goddamn V-Claws are back?
No, the Venom and Cloak. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Vermilion.
Yeah, there's Damascene cloth to make the Vermilion cloaks.
Yeah. No, Venomous...
no V-Claws for Scorpion Harness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Scorpion. Yeah. You already got Scorpion Harness in the game, so...
Yes, that's why I was confused and deeply alarmed.
Yeah.
And you have to face northwest on Fire's Day.
Which is weird because we don't even have that.
They invented it just for the crafting.
And watch as everything breaks.
Then you fight Raiden, who is like a stronger version of Odin. And that was fun. A lot of moving. A lot of moving.
Yeah, we're gonna not talk about the story yet because I want to give Seyrr a chance to hopefully get through and if not go through it himself, at least have a chance to see it and kind of absorb it all.
I heard there's
before we talk about it.
There's 2 secret endings if you beat BA as well.
Yeah, well, the ending actually has 2 paths, and then each path has a secret ending depending on how you finish BA. Correct.
Yeah.
So
So
look forward to that.
one day I'll beat BA. But till now, I enjoyed what I did, and we wiped at 23%, and I saw all the mechanics.
So next time you can get to 22%.
Yay!
So on hearing on this, what do you guys think, Seyrr and Taliz? What are your thoughts as to what you're hearing here?
I'll let Taliz go first because I think he's got the stronger hot take on this one.
Crap! I was kind of hoping you would do the same.
Okay, I'll go
Yeah,
first
go
then.
for it, man.
I've been wanting to explore a bit more. It's mostly been a matter of finding time. It is nice to hear that, especially with the later ones, they've kind of made, okay, we'll get you through the leveling fast. That was definitely something in the earlier ones that felt like, as long as we're making comparisons to 11, the experience slog, not really something I wanted to repeat. So I'm glad that they've been a bit better about, okay, let's just get it out of the way so you can get to them. I'm definitely intrigued to see some of these fights, to explore the landscape a bit more. It does sound like they've sorted out a lot of the issues that people were pointing out with previous ones, which I generally have the feeling that they don't make the same mistake twice, which I appreciate. I have heard that there's been a bit of community. Like, there's, of course, a Discord that's been established for people going into the Arsenal, things like that, but that people start expecting everyone to be on it and get very salty if someone dares enter a portal when they weren't supposed to, even if it's someone who didn't necessarily know. It's not like everyone has Discord. So I don't know how much can be done about the expectation that people have of, oh, this needs to be done perfectly with a 100% coordinated group, and it is our instance and all that. People should try not to be dicks.
It is a reportable offence if you're found to be sniping portals.
Don't be a dick.
Well, but only if you send people messages being a dick about it. If you just jump in by accident, then it's not reportable. But if you send messages saying, "Oh, so I'm going to get in, so you can't," lols.
Yeah.
So if it's a legitimate accident, it's fine. But if you're trolling around, that's a gray area that could get abused.
Yeah.
But I think we're talking about that in a little bit.
Yeah,
so
the biggest issue with that is the fact that when you beat Ovni, 48 individual portals spawn.
Yeah.
And if a portal is used, it disappears. So only. And
then
48,
once you be in the.
Yeah, but then once you get to the support fate, then 8 more portals will spawn. So that's where you get to the 56.
Okay, and you need all of them to get everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, one way where they could fix that is basically they have like a portal that spawns, and you just have to have it like clicked that only so many people can get through it.
You choose the portal and it auto builds a party.
Yeah. Or if you're in a party, it will bring your entire party through.
Yeah. And if your party isn't full, then it brings in single players or something.
Yeah, but then then it might introduce issues with duty finders and party matching that way.
Plus, let's say you have a party of 5 and I have a party of 2, and then there's a solo player. This game is advanced, so I don't know if it's going to be able to calculate all that on the fly with that many people.
But I mean,
the portals aren't random; they're always in the same spots. So if you go to the Discord, they've actually got an image where each group, because there's multiple groups, each group has got will assign a number to their portal.
Yep, they've split it into 6. So group 1 will be on the far left, 2 a little further than 3, and then 6 is all the way to the right.
Yeah.
That's handy, at least. I'm glad that there's some kind of organic organization that's existing now.
However,
the support portals are RNG where they spawn.
Yeah, but there are only 8 of them, so whoever the support group is going to be for that particular run, they need to watch the map and then pick, okay, I'm taking this one, I'm taking that one, you take this other one. But like I said, the biggest issue that I'm coming across with this, because not everybody has access to Discord, and not everybody is, as hardcore trying to get into that. If somebody just wants to go in and explore it, people are going to be like super pissed off at them because, hey, we were going to do this. So, and I don't know, it's creating a little bit of tension that it doesn't need to have.
Yeah, I don't like the tension at all. As much as I've done it now, and I can understand from doing it why the Discord is useful, because the shout-outs are super helpful. Not only that, but by having known who the support team was, we were able to ask them, okay, do you mind changing to this job, replace this person to this and this person? Yeah, if that had died or whatever, or had left because they died. Because remember, you can't be raised in Hidden Arsenal unless it's from Sacrifice.
Sacrifice
Or from
the
LB3.
LB3.
Or from the Wisdom of the Remembered.
Yeah, the re-raise possibility.
Yeah, 70% chance.
That sounds like a hassle.
Yeah, so if you die right at the start, you're kind of screwed. And that's why the support team is good, because then you can ask them to replace the jobs that have died. So you've got 8 backups for other jobs in other parties.
And if I also understand correctly, there is a chance that if you were to return, you actually return back to the center point, and you could potentially be raised there then, so you wouldn't lose your XP.
If you return, you're dead.
Or what am I thinking? If you fail, right?
Yeah, if you fail and you run out of time, you get kicked out and put in the middle. That's why I didn't lose my XP, because we failed and my time was still going, so we got kicked out of the dungeon, but I was still dead.
And then people could come and raise you.
Yeah, you just spout the crystal.
And the cool part is this is all happening within the same instance as the rest of Eureka, of the rest of Hydatos. So you can actually hear them shouting, and they will actually be shouting, hey, we're getting to this point. Support team, are you ready? We're going to pop the fate. Or like, we're about to fail. There's going to be a whole bunch of dead bodies at the crystal. Can people help raise us? That was kind of cool. So it is
neat.
Kind of a public dungeon, but you have to go through these portals in order to get to that part of the map. You can't just walk through.
I would recommend to do both, if you're going to be doing it, to make sure you use both the Umbra and the the other one? Oh, God damn it, Astral sections of the logogram, so you can have 2 logograms at the same time.
Yep. Dual wield them if at all possible. Though remember, if you go put more than 3 logos actions in there, it will start to reduce to from 100. You'll get less than 100% chance of actually making it work.
I would go with Wisdom of the Remembered and Plate Bearer if you're a DPS for the first few runs. Just because the Plate Bearer will mean you'll take a lot less damage, so if you screw up mechanic, you might not die. But then switch to a DPS logogram for Absolute Virtue, because you need it to pass the DPS checks of the Wyverns.
Okay.
Also typing.
Sorry, that's me. I will mute myself for a moment.
Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to throw in on that, though, Seyrr, before we move on?
Not especially. Yeah, we'll just, I am looking forward to it. It's been something where I keep wanting to make the time, and I am looking forward to exploring a lot of that once it gets there. It seems like they've learned from it as they've gone along.
So then, all right. So then tell us, what's your hot take?
Honestly, hearing you guys talk about it, it definitely does not sound like the same event that I looked into. It seems like a lot has changed, and I think a lot of that is just due to feedback with things like, hey, this is taking too long, hey, this is unreasonable, and then some stuff just gets adjusted as time is going on, and as these expansions to it are coming up. I think the big thing to look at is, hey, this first thing didn't work super well. Well, we've already got the second thing done, so we're going to change that for the third one.
Yep.
So a lot of stuff is just a little bit behind. Is Eureka done now? Like, they're not going to do any more after this one,
Well,
right?
this is the final of this, yes.
Yeah, they did talk about a new Diadem and Eureka in the 5.0 series.
Yeah, they want to maybe use the idea that this came from and maybe just expand on it a little bit, but Eureka as a story is complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested
It'd
in
be
that.
like, how Heaven on High isn't Palace of the Dead, but it's Palace of the Dead.
It's Palace of the Dead plus.
It's a deep dungeon.
I think the trick with something like that is you look at things like Deep Dungeon, Diadem, and Eureka, and you go, these are all really unique things, sort of unique things that we have built and made for 14. But then you look at your population and you go, okay, well, who never did Diadem? Was Diadem popular? No. Was Diadem 2 popular? No. Okay, are we going to do that again?
I love
Probably
Diadem.
not. You're the first person. No, I know 2 people in Hyperion that have liked it.
Well, I'm the other one.
Oh God, 3 apparently. But just like I tried it and it wasn't really interesting unless you're a gatherer. Then there's lots of cool stuff to do.
Like I said, the thing that I liked about Diadem wasn't the actual content itself; it was the people I was doing it with. Anyway,
Yeah, it was communications. That was fun.
MMOs in a nutshell. Is this fun? Yes. Why? Well, the people I'm playing with. Like that's a big. My fire team in Destiny 2 is the reason why I'm still playing Destiny 2. Not the game. I promise you that.
That's why a lot of people kept playing Final Fantasy XI, even though it was an absolute slog, because the people they played with were amazing.
God. Right, because 11. The other nice thing about 11 is you were there because you wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, oh, I want to play an MMO and I have a MacBook, so I guess I'm playing WoW. Like you were all stuck there. But now it's,
I want to play now 11. Too.
You can now.
Does
but like I'm talking
client.
10 years ago or whatever. The Mac client's garbage anyway.
They have they had parallels and you can put Windows on those.
Yeah.
I ran 11 on my MacBook.
Oh, that's right. You could do that. I just put it on PS2. But
I'm jealous.
I think it's interesting to see that they're taking this thing that they've tried. They've seen parts of it work and parts of it not. They've learned, they've grown, they've adjusted. It's gotten better over time. And now for 5.0, they say, okay, what did we learn from Diadem? What did we learn from Deep Dungeon? What did we learn from Eureka? What did we learn from 24 Mans? Like, look at the Evil East story versus Crystal Tower. That is a night and day difference for how those dungeons are designed.
Yeah.
Like, we've learned a lot over time.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, the Return to Evil East was done by a different company. Well, a different set team.
Different group, but also Void Ark. Like, you look at Void Ark versus Crystal Tower versus Evil East, and you're seeing 3 very unique styles based on production team, developer, director, etc. But also, hey, so you're going to do a 24-man dungeon. Here's some stuff we learned in World of Darkness. Don't do that. That was bad. Also, here's the thing we learned in Circus Tower. Don't do that. That wasn't the best option either.
What I find, though, is funny that is mechanics you get in the 24-man raid eventually always go into the main dungeons or primals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Thunder God, Ozma, what do you want? Like, it's just, sometimes you reuse stuff.
Well, it's great because that way people can go, oh, look, that's what the mechanic was there. Oh, look, it's the mechanic you get. And then throw in a new one as well.
Yeah.
One thing I do like about that in particular with Proto Ozma is they took the expectations that people had for a couple bits of it and then massively subverted them.
Oh, yeah, I saw that Mr. Happy Troll video where they're like, oh, it's the ad phase. Let's all go fight him. And they get sucked out. What?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they just go, wait, what just happened?
That was funny.
Which I remember, again, they talked about with Ultimate Weapon Ultimate, about how it's like, hey, something that will be fun for streaming, which includes a lot of those gotcha moments where something is expected and then complete troll moment.
All right, anything else then, Taliz?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Now, with that being said, what types of quality of life things would you like to see implemented moving forward with Eureka? Because it's something they want to keep alive for people that coming into the game.
We can all answer this at the same time. Okay, everyone? 3, 2, 1.
Level sync.
Level sync.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that way you could actually work with others as opposed to just, hey, you're max level and you're not.
Yeah.
I guess I'll see you in say chat or something. Like, I can't do anything with the person.
Yeah, I would love to be able to level sync and help you, Taliz, get through Animos. Take that, and then we can all go into Pagos. We can level sync and help Seyrr. And then we can
I don't know, it's Pagos.
Did I say Pyros?
No, he said Pagos, and I've said no. I don't know. It's Pagos.
Hey,
I'll help in Animus. I'll help in Pyros.
they actually fixed a lot of the shit in Pagos now. They
Yeah,
made
sure.
it where you can actually get to the Aetherites a lot faster now, so that the travel is a lot easier. No, Rory, we're not forgetting you. We're going to include you too. I just couldn't remember if you were in Pagos or Pyros.
Or Animus. I don't know.
I think she's in Pagos. It was one of the P ones, I thought. But yeah, I mean, we can help
Maybe
our
you're in Hydro
friends.
City.
Everybody
Okay,
that we know get through there, get level synced, be at the same level, and not be a detriment to you guys because we're too high level.
We're too strong.
As long as I can keep my mount.
Yeah.
And can you then imagine all the regalias running across all of the
That's
Eurekas?
just the Eureka Mountain, isn't it? The Regalia.
Yeah, because you'll have 2 max level people level sync down, and everybody gets into those.
Everybody gets in the cars.
That'll be amazing.
I really hope it's... I know it won't be because that'd be stupid, but I really hope the mount size is based on the race that summons it. Just so I can have a little tiny car and then go around and pick up a load of Rogue Aidens.
And the rows are just like hanging off the side.
They're like scrunched up the back with the knees to
Or
the
pushing
heads.
the car.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, they're like their knees are by their heads and they're like squished up.
And now we're going to end up creating the Eureka Highway Network.
Oh dear.
Got to put all of the refugees to work, right?
Yeah.
That's problematic very fast.
That was the point.
This is the wrong podcast for problematic stuff.
I had to put a sticker on it too, so.
I'd expect to pay for this highway network class with crystals
Yes.
and D levels.
Yes. And salt.
Oh god,
All
we
right.
can make so many highways with salt.
So, anything else you want to touch on with the patch 4.55? That basically covers most of what we got.
Well, I think that covers it all.
All
Get
right.
excited for Hildebrand coming soon.
Yep.
Yay!
Yeah, the next bit we're going to get is Hildebrand and the part 2 of the main storyline. So that's coming in 4.56, which is sometime in late March.
I'm gonna guess like the 20, whatever the last
Probably-
Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, it's going to be right after FanFest, JP probably.
Yeah,
Likely.
So that'll be 23rd, 26th,
27th,
27th?
26th, 20, yeah, 26th, yeah.
26th. Okay. So the other big piece of news that's been going around the community, right after patch 4.55 was released, Square Enix released an updated terms of service for Final Fantasy XIV clients and accounts.
This is so dumb.
Well, yeah, I'm not... Okay. I'm going to link it in the chat for those of you who haven't seen it. This is going to take you right to SE's important changes to prohibitive activities and account penalty policy in Final Fantasy XIV. I read through it. I posted in Twitter, hey guys, SE updated the terms. You may want to just go through it to make sure that you know what's going on. I didn't expect the kind of salt and problems that arose from it. So basically, the biggest changes are in the wording of a lot of the issues that you're going to be penalized for.
I feel like I'm seeing so much willful misinterpretation of the stuff there, where people are making up doomsday scenarios that I don't think are actually going to happen.
Yeah, well, and you know what? Most of the people who are worried about the doomsday scenarios are the ones who are being problematic to begin with.
Yeah.
All right, so reasons for the changes. Until now, we have operated under the philosophy that this is an MMORPG, and frequent in-game intervention by Square Enix would inhibit player experience. Under this philosophy, GMs have intervened only in cases of racial and sexual discrimination or other severe cases. GMs would not actively take action against other types of behavior that were deemed to be annoying but not crossing the line from an objective eye. instead encouraging the involved players to resolve the situation through communication, adding the players to the blacklist, or other peaceful methods. However, times have changed, and although Final Fantasy is an MMORPG, it is now our belief that it is better for the community as a whole for us to intervene in situations where a player is subjected to the abusive behavior of another player, rather than worrying about inhibiting communication between players. So basically, they decided that they're going to step in and basically play, I don't know, is the phrase, being the playground cop?
Something like a little bit.
I think the main issue really anyone has with the new terms of service is it feels too open. Yeah. It's very open to interpretation, and that's kind of a...
I'm guessing that they have clear things internally for what counts and doesn't count for that. It just often becomes a thing of, if you lay out the things of it, people are going to try to find a way to be as dickish as possible and dance on the line. Yeah. But they say, compelling to play such. Does this mean if I tell someone to do such and such, I could get banned? It's like, no, that's not actually compelling someone. Compelling someone is, we're doing the fight with the waymarks I laid out, or I'm going to wipe us over and over. And if you don't like it, you can take the deserter lockout.
Yeah.
Or if you're
dicks.
Or if you're trolling somebody just to be an absolute, jerk, or if you're calling out somebody because of poor DPS, based on parser numbers or things of that nature. Those are the types of activities that they're looking at punishing.
Well, as long as you don't say the numbers in a dickish way.
Yeah. Well,
I'm reminded of all those ones where I think it was on the Xbox forums where people will post say, "Hey, I don't get why I was banned. I only did this one thing. I just said this, asked this person," and then they would respond with, "Yeah, here's the chat log. Here are all the racist slurs you used. Mm-hmm. Here's the bit where you threatened to go over and attack them and their family."
Well, it reminds me of the time also when we had that Unga Max glitch. And on Reddit, someone says, "I don't know why I was banned. I never used it for endgame content. I only ever used it for Ultimate."
Well,
I only ever used it for Ultimate, guys. I didn't use it for endgame.
Yeah.
You just said you used it, though. That's not okay.
But it's not real endgame.
No, that's not real endgame. That's glamour. You can't Unga Max glamour.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, I really do not think the sky is falling nearly as much. And generally the people who are that worried about, it's going to be because they're the people that I start looking a little bit askance at about, how have you been talking to people in your parties?
I'll be honest, my raid group for the last few weeks since this got announced have just been taking the piss out of each other using it. So, it's been fun.
My roommate got a "you're a shit paladin" and then got and somebody tried to report it, and it was like, no, he's fine. You just were not used to running MSQ quickly. The dude has leveled so many jobs to 70 using it. He knows this. We know where to drag mobs. We know what we can pull. And this
we're taking the piss out of our own raid group.
Oh yeah, no, giving each other a hard time. Absolutely, that's fine.
I mean, that's in your friends group. That's generally going to not be an issue.
Fine.
We're like, "Oh no, we'll report you for that," and "Oh no, I'll report you for that."
I'll report you for reporting me for reporting him.
I don't like his opinion of reporting me. I'm reporting it.
Reportception.
I think people are scared that there's too many SJWs out there, or somebody's gonna, take something the wrong way.
I love you, but if you try to use that as a thing again, I am going to take you down.
I'm gonna report that.
I don't like that. I'm gonna report you for reporting Seyrr.
Oh my god, I'm gonna set you all on fire.
I'm gonna report that.
Then you can't report anything.
I mean, I can't report that. This is my own opinion. I can't report that.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some gray area where this is not set up well to where people who have decided that everything that isn't their way of playing is incorrect there's definitely some room for abuse, which is why they're looking through chat logs, which is why they're double checking before they take anything super seriously.
Which is why they're saying, it's like, okay, they blacklisted you, and then you created 5 different alts just to keep whispering at them.
Yeah, okay, we're banning your IP address. Like, that's fair. Like, you're being an active antagonistic force.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, technically, yes, you could say, oh, well, just keep blacklisting them when you get a thing, but realistically, it is unreasonable to expect someone to have to keep playing whack-a-mole.
Also, it's now a reportable offence for stalking people. What's the point of my wedding ring?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to ring pop to you and then report that you're standing in the place that I wanted to be.
Theoretically, there is some amount of previous consent indicated if you have a wedding ring.
I don't know. Somebody in the RP group I'm in is like, man, I want that dress. What are you doing this weekend? And I was like, absolutely not. That is the dumbest thing ever. Oh my god.
I mean, there have been plenty of people who in real life got married because they wanted the bitchin' party.
I mean, not for nothing, but you can have a really good party and not get married.
But how are you going to get other people to pay for it?
You lie.
Friendship.
I mean, sorry.
It's like you could set up the web of lies, or you could just form a semi-permanent legal one.
I actually had 2 friends, legit. They were just friends. They had a wedding, full tilt, dress tuxedo, friends, flew their college roommates out, parents paid for stuff, all of it, full tilt wedding. And then at the end, we were just like, you guys seem like you're really close and you're really good friends. And they go, yep, we're really good friends. And we were like, you have got to be shitting me. And they're like, no, we just wanted to have a really huge party and we knew we couldn't get everybody together unless it was for a wedding. And so then, like, 6 months later, they were like, yeah, we never filed the paperwork and some stuff happened, so we're just going to be roommates still, because they were already roommates. But they're not in a romantic relationship. They just decided to roll with it, and they did it, and it was hilarious.
Like, if you're going to do it, that is the proper way to do it, as long as you can handle the fact that some amount of your friends are probably not going to speak to you again.
Right, and they actually did end up getting married like 2 years later because they were like, you know, that actually wasn't the worst idea. We did like we were still in contact with them. They were members of our church. They just did a paperwork and barbecue at the church, like after church on a Sunday. It was
I don't know about their particular relationship, but even if stuff hadn't changed that much, companionate marriage is totally a thing.
Yeah.
But really, it's the gays who are ruining.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's not, you know, that time when we were driving back to LA and Pyrocat and Sambe and I were discussing, man, who has better insurance between the two of you? I mean, you're both pretty good friends anyway. Like, that was a legit conversation. But
that really says more about the state of our insurance markets, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
That'd be for a different podcast.
Insurance Down Radio.
Insurance Down Radio, where we talk about life insurance policies.
I do that.
Well, you know, I recommend the British insurance company Hiscock.
God. Fucking.
Oh,
Chille.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, it's spelled his, COX. That's the name of the company.
Yeah, but someone knew what they were.
Especially with the tagline when it first came out, you're always covered. Like.
Okay.
God. All right, there's so many Shimonetta jokes right here, and I'm not taking any of them. I'm choosing to be better, and it's really, really difficult.
Moving on.
You to know that.
Insurance.
Moving
Feel
on.
secure.
Thank you.
Moving on. So, like I said, we've had some interesting discussion on this, but can you imagine what the community was talking about regarding the terms of service changes? Like I said, it was ranging from, oh my God, the sky is falling. And then the other people were just like, don't panic and carry a towel. You know, they were like, it's not that bad.
Advice for life.
Exactly. Don't forget to bring a towel. I know, wrong
Slightly weirder advice for life.
But I linked one of the Reddit threads where there was a lot of interesting discussion that came from that. basically the OP had said the change is just so they have a policy in place to keep people from finding loopholes and harassing people. And that's realistically what it is. Like I said, and like we were talking about a little bit earlier, the main problem that people are seeing is the vague language. It is left pretty wide open for interpretation, so people are a little bit scared on that. But if you're not being a total asshole, I think you're going to be fine.
The other thing I would throw out there is they are a business. They do not especially want to get rid of a customer unless that customer is costing them more in terms of driving other customers away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like their stance on passing. They don't allow it, but unless you're actually showing it off, then chances are they're not going to go after it.
Like, unless you are actually creating an issue for them,
yeah,
they do not want to get rid of a paying customer, someone who is enjoying their stuff, providing goodwill, being a member of the community. Yeah. It's only when you're becoming so toxic that you're driving other people away that you're becoming more of a liability than you're worth.
Yeah. Parsing is not allowed. Okay, great. How many years deep are we? It happens.
Yeah.
And but if you're not being an ass about it...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen ever.
No, what's a parser?
Not. Right. It's like, if you're not being an ass about it, whatever.
I sit there and calculate it in my mind as I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm watching the numbers fly on the screen and just adding them all up real fast.
But no,
my DPS fairy tells me.
Anyways, the rule has been around for ages, and people keep coming up with all these weird little, oh, well, this scenario and this thing and this thing and that. And how much does that actually happen?
0.
Yeah.
Or very, very, very infrequent.
It only happens when it's alongside a bunch of other asshole-ish stuff. All of these things that people were theorizing, oh, they could start doing this, that doesn't actually happen. They are not out to get you. If they are out to get you, there's a decent chance you're being a dick.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do what I did once in 11 and get banned because you organised all the Tarus in the area spam welcome motion to look like you're humping someone's leg just because you thought they were a bot. Don't do that.
Wow. Oh my god. 11 was such a garbage fest. My friend Bannon logged into Ultima Online at one point and he was in jail because he was so efficient at mining that he figured out like the amount of time for button presses to like move from space to space. He was so efficient at it that they thought he was a bot.
Yeah, I thought this person was a bot because they'd been there for, I think it was 36 hours. I hadn't seen them move. So I got all the Tyros in the area to run up to them and spam welcome. In case anyone knows, welcome for a Tyro was you put your arms back and you thrust your hips forward.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got put into GM jail for that.
But did you have any like permanent consequences, or was it more like, hey, you got arrested and then
I got a 24-hour ban for it.
So yeah, that's like a
baby.
Don't do that
and then,
again.
as I said, as I've said this story before, but the GM forgot I was in there.
Ooh, awkward.
I had to report myself to get out because the GM had gone on holiday that banned me.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, at least you could do that outside of in the Play Online launcher. So,
yeah.
I mean,
oh god,
can you imagine trying to do that now? You'd have to contact SE support, and we all know how much fun that can be.
I was gonna say, if you have to do that now, I think you're just gonna go play Anthem for like a month, and then just.
I lost my account because of SE support. I lost my account years ago because they decided they thought I'd been hacked. Because I was visiting America at the time. And I logged in while I was there.
Different.
I actually got a 72-hour could not log in issue because I logged in Japan. I logged in inside Cafe Eorzea, and they freaking blocked me for 3 days.
I mean,
but no, they changed my. Sorry,
of all the cases where you've got like someone who all of a sudden logs in from a completely different country, how many of them are where someone actually did do international travel versus, okay, someone's account just got stolen?
Oh, no, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure they are not actually keeping a list of which IP addresses are Cafe Eorzea.
No, but when it's when it's the Cafe Eorzea, and I log into Final Fantasy XIV on the in-house computer, That was a little much.
It's funny, but I'm guessing they are not actually keeping a thing of whitelist of, oh, well, if anyone logs in from here, it must be okay.
But here's the
But
question.
yeah, unluckily, I lost the account because they changed my password. And they wouldn't, even after I gave them all my details, they wouldn't let me change the password unless I got it back, unless I sent them a statement from my bank. And my bank would refuse to do that because they didn't want to send out those sort of details. So,
alright, well, rip account.
bank account.
So did you guys have authenticators then?
God,
No.
I mean,
Well, I got banned just as they got released, so.
because I mean, that's what exactly the type of thing that the account authenticators are supposed to help, keep from happening. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you don't use an authenticator, and you have a smartphone, I mean, there's a free app for it, and it actually works really well.
It doesn't
Yeah,
work
use
on
the app.
Android. The Android app for the US does not work very well.
I've had no issues with it.
Oh, the last 3 Android phones I've had, they did not work at all. But it's fine. I have an actual Square Enix branded one that just sits here.
Yeah.
So
Nick Nar is still using his original 11 authenticator. I still have mine somewhere. I know my 14 one from the 1.0 collector's edition is still in the box.
Yeah, my 11 one finally gave out a year or so ago, so I'm using my 1.0 collector's authenticator now. Memories.
But yeah, I've had zero issues then with having the authenticator being able to log into different places and not have to worry about getting temp banned because potential spoofing or something like that.
Yep, that is the purpose of it.
So
Yeah, my mate got temp banned recently because he tried to log in and it said that someone had tried to log into his account. So, yeah.
Well, they're serious about making sure that your account stays safe and isn't
Which is
used,
good.
So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to lose my character.
right.
And there's at least some period of time, and I think it still happens to some degree, where game accounts, especially really valuable ones, were targets of organized crime. In part because you can get a lot of money for them, and law enforcement in many jurisdictions does not take it seriously.
Yeah. I mean, how many hundreds of dollars have we invested in these characters, guys?
Oh man, looking back at the FF11 days where, oh man, there were all those people who were playing from the UAE who would buy accounts for thousands of dollars. They get banned and they just buy another one. Ah,
Good
God,
times.
that was a weird time.
Is that how you paid for college, Seyrr?
Huh?
Is that how you paid for college?
No, stick with That's the perfect answer. Leave it right there.
Okay.
Oh my god. All right. Actually, out of just sheer curiosity, I'm going to call it 5 years. And if you paid, I'm saying $15 a month for whether you have the basic, the expanded retainers, whatever, you're looking at about $900.
Is that right?
And
15 a month.
15, 12,
180. So yeah, $900.
And that's
Yeah,
not
12,
including the actual cost of the expansions as well.
No, that's not
And
including
anything from the Mog Station.
And Mog Station.
$180 worth of stuff because you had to buy Realm Reborn, assuming you bought Realm Reborn.
And extra retainers and
Now,
retainers, collector's editions, fat
you
cats.
can save a bit on this by committing to 6 months at a time.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and which is what I do because it's just way easier.
So
yeah.
And what sucks then is, if you guys end up, doing something that's terribly bad in game, and end up getting your account banned, that's, more shit that you just lost. So,
Well, I mean, one could argue it's hey, for that money, you weren't paying to own this object; you were paying for the set of
Entertainment.
experiences that you had.
you're paying. You were paying for entertainment. It's basically like a subscription to Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't
Just because
buy
you got banned from Netflix doesn't mean that you suddenly unwatched all those movies.
I don't buy my share of a Mariners game. I just spent $60 and I got to be at a game for 3 hours. But now that's over. I don't get to go back.
Yep.
I've still done that thing. If I get kicked out because I brought a bottle of liquor in, too bad. They still got my $60 and I still watched 5 innings of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know it's got a legacy account, so he gets discounted sub.
Woo, Legacy!
Yay.
I had to let my account lapse when I was in college, so I don't get the discount anymore.
I didn't come back to this dumpster fire.
I saw it through because it was interesting, and I wanted to see what Yoshi P was going to do with it.
I kind of was salty about my account being banned, a few years beforehand, so I kind of, yeah. I bought the 1.0 collector's edition twice. Well, once and then bought a normal edition. So I found my mum's old account because she used to play it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Which had the garlic goggles on.
Yeah, I'm so mad at it. I wanted those garland goggles. I thought that was actually the cooler looking item versus the onion helm.
Yeah, I had the onion helmet. She had the garland goggles.
I got both, but I had more money then.
All right. Anything else you guys want to throw in on this?
No, I'm good.
I think I'm about there.
So basically, the TLDR on this entire thing is don't be a dick, and you'll be fine.
I mean,
Be
that's kind of the
excellent to
TLDR for everything.
That's a TLDR for
I
life.
don't know, not always. Sometimes being a dick's a good idea.
When is being a dick a good idea?
When you're covered by whatever that was, Chille.
It's got home insurance.
Anyway, we'd like to hear what your guys' opinions are on the new TOS, or what your thoughts are on patch 4.55. If you want to share that with us, you can tweet at us at PHXDN Radio, or you can always shoot us an email at podcast@phoenixstarradio.com.
By the way, we're not sponsored by Hiscox Insurance, so.
Chille, you're fired.
Yay! Bye, everyone.
All right.
Chille is unmodded and banned. Okay.
So, Seyrr, do you want to jump into a beautiful lore segment tonight?
Oh. So, I mean, this is one of the problems that we're having right now. Like, I was casting about for topics, try checking in with a lot of the lore models, other things like that. Right now, we're kind of in a really difficult place. Most of what we have is either old news, which if there's something that people are unclear on or want more details about, I'm happy to talk about that. I always welcome your feedback. But right now, it's either stuff that we've kind of explored thoroughly, or it's something where it's really inconclusive. We're kind of in this really big state of unpredictability. Even down with the next patch. We know that, how was it that he phrased it? Actual Xenos is coming in sideways to fuck up Elidibus Xenos' shit, and we have no idea what that even means. Like, we don't know what's going on. We've kind of reached the point where all the stuff that was at least pre-planned or part of this big overarching arc thing, where they've gotten through most of it. So making predictions or trying to tell about what's going on with stuff is now really, really hard. I feel like the other thing I want to mention is, although I haven't done it, I know a bit about what went on with Eureka, and that's one it's reminding us of the role that the lore plays for the actual development team. Because a lot of the stuff that was introduced in the Eureka sequences, with the explanations for how Eureka got to be the way it is, and what happened with the students of Valdesion and all of that, a lot of it is outright contradictory with information we have. Information about some of the Asians, where they were, what they were doing, what they were able to reach. Like, it outright contradicts. We don't have an explanation for it yet. And quite frankly, a lot of that is because what happened in the design process is they said, okay, the players really want to fight an ultimate Ozma. Make it happen.
Yep.
And so the writers figured out some way to do it, to have this particular realm where all this is going on and where you have this weird thing. And then it's the job of the lore team to try to make that consistent with the story that we have.
Why not add AV? Everyone remembers him. Why not?
But the lore team the lore stuff is considerations are always secondary to the people who are just writing the story for this. So it's like, hey, we have a cool story where these people, where the students of Valdesion and where Galuf did certain things and was like, hey, it's really awesome. Like, that was a thing that they decided to make happen because it was cool. Having someone pipe in and say, he couldn't have done that because the lore says yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, well, now we can't have him do anything cool. They're not going to do that. So we are in a place where there's a lot we don't know. We don't have an ability to meaningfully predict stuff. And some stuff is outright contradicting, and we don't really have an explanation for it yet. I know that this is something that's being brought up, that I'm sure there's going to be some exploration of possibly some additive retcon is the term that we use. The idea that's like something that changes the meaning of what was going on by adding information that we didn't know before that changes the meaning of things.
Yeah.
Where it's plausibly, okay, this is what was going on all along and we just didn't know it. Which is differentiated from a subtractive retcon, where it's like, okay, we're removing something, we're removing information, we're taking this thing out of it, this thing is just gone now, it never was. The additive one is generally considered pretty kosher. If you're going to make changes, it's the way to do it because it's adding depth to something that may not have been there before. It's kind of fleshing it out. It's the one that people are generally be okay with. They try to avoid the subtractive ones like the devil. Just because it feels like lazy, okay, we wrote ourselves into a corner and we have no idea how to get out of it, so we're just going to pretend this thing never happened.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to Aetheryte Radio at all, but the last week's episode, Moose actually had a really interesting discussion on the Eureka lore and kind of the exact situations you were talking about there.
I was feeding him hot takes during part of that segment.
Nice.
For some reason, he decided not to use any of them on the air, even though I thought some of them were rather brilliant. Okay, I was kind of bored on the information desk.
Jesus.
Like, I had a lot of hot takes. Let me see if I actually have any of those saved.
Anyway.
Nope. I think we got that cleared.
Well, dig through your hot takes and see what you can come up with for next week.
Hot takes. Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, I forgot I even talked about that. I said some weird stuff. We should.
This is awesome radio, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you reading your own notes.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
No,
I mean, this
say
isn't
that.
even my. This is random shit posting from another server. I mean, I could start verbally shit posting right now. That's the thing I do. But yeah, we're just kind of in a weird place right now. So this is a really good time for people who are listening. If there's something that you weren't clear about before, if there's something that, oh, hey, you're just getting to this bit of content now and you have questions about it, this is an amazing time to ask, because in terms of trying to trying to figure out what's going on, we're not really at a point where we can find, oh, hey, there are these puzzle pieces that they planted, and we can try to find them and put them together to make this prediction. It's now kind of, well, we're now just making our best guesses and waiting to see what the writers come up with. So for a lot of that traditional lore monger activity, we aren't really in a place where we can do that. So this is a really good time. If you do have any of those questions, if there's something that you want reviewed, if there's something that you're curious about or want explored in more depth, send us your questions, send us your comments. Let us know what it is you'd like to know about, because otherwise, I have no goddamn clue. I was supposed to sound slightly more professional than that, wasn't I?
Well, you could have just said you didn't have anything and we could have moved on, but...
Well, I mean, I want to make it clear, this isn't just me phoning it in. That happens a little bit. This is
technically, that's exactly what you're doing, Seyrr.
Just until I get that new microphone. But we're kind of in a weird place.
No, you're right.
Now.
We're all waiting for information.
Oh God, I've had travel back in time. Seth said that earlier.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. But no, we're in the middle of the spot where we're waiting on information from like FanFest Japan. We're waiting on the finishing storyline for 4.55. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's still up in the air, and we're just not sure where or how we're gonna get to Shadowbringers.
Yeah, I mean, the original art for all this, I think the expectation was that it was like interest was going to peak with Heavensward and then like decline a bit afterwards, and I think they figured they'd get one or two more expansions out, and stuff has been way more. It's like the person who writes this really amazing 3-season TV show, and then at the end of the 3rd season, the producers come back and are like, "Oh my god, they love it so much, they want more. Can you get another 4 seasons?" That happened with Dragon Ball, didn't it?
It sure did. The guy who made it was like, "Man, I finally finished the Saiyan arc. Now I don't have to do any more. Everyone's enjoying it. Gotta make more."
Yeah.
Well,
got
I'm
everything
done with the
afterwards.
Frieza arc. Now I can
Yeah.
be gone for good. Psst,
Oh.
They still like it. Make more.
Yeah.
Chille, do you
So-
ever not squeeze DBZ reference in?
Dude, I opened the door for him there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just
I specifically brought that one up because I know that is a very famous example of it.
Okay, you're both fired.
Which, I mean, it's good. Like, it's also that they recognize we appreciate it and that they're giving us more. And they've got a good track record, so I've got good expectations for them. We're just in a weird spot right now.
Well, it's also like
so
Hildebrand.
I'll make one more reference before we go. Do you know that it was the editors the reason why the Cell arc lasted so long? Because he's like, okay, this is the final villain, and it was the 19 and 20 that popped up, and the editor said no, those don't look weird enough. So he's like, okay, fine. Submitted 17, 18. Oh no, those look too like teenagers. Like, fine. That's where we got Cell from, because the editors kept telling them, no, that's not the right design. That won't sell toys.
Yeah. Sometimes the story ends up being in service to other concerns.
Yup.
All right, so TLDR sends Seyrr ideas for lore segments.
Yeah, tell me what you want to hear. Tell me about the thing that someone made this comment that made you wonder, hey, how does this work there? Hey, who is this person? Why do they care about this?
I mean,
if it's
I'll
like
take an whole section on Tataru.
Oh, geez, I'm not sure how much there is to say. She's great. She's adorable. It's not like I have her measurements and life history and blood type.
Gross.
Chille does.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Like I said, Chille does.
Don't tell them, Klauss.
Oh, Chille.
There's
Did
some
you guess
information they
on
don't need to know.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our newest segment in Phoenix Down Radio, Taliz's Prep Station. What are you making for us today, Taliz?
It's prep table time. For those of you who are kind of new to the show, I am Taliz Marvelous. I am a culinarian in Eorzea and in real life. I am actually a restaurant manager of a burger place, and I love Japanese cuisine. So I started looking at Japanese food this week. I actually picked up a couple of books from my local bookstore, and looking through them, I got inspired to look at the really truly inspired by Japan cuisine that we got a lot of in Stormblood. And I saw one thing that didn't make a ton of sense, therefore I dug into it. I'm talking about a level 66 item called Warrior's Stew. Now, Warrior's Stew is level 66, I level 279, and it's made primarily with the Zochuck from the Steppe Zo. They're a descendant of Ald goats, so kind of a goat/boar thing, because Eorzea. Comes with a bunch of veggies, and it's called Warrior's Stew. But all of the bonuses for it are based on crafting. So this is leading me to think that maybe this wasn't supposed to be a warrior stew. Maybe this was supposed to be something else. So not sure if that was a translation issue. Looked up the Japanese name for it, and it does basically translate about to warrior or fighter style stew. So I started looking at the ingredients, found kind of their real-world counterparts, which wasn't too hard. I had a girabani carrot, sun cabbage, fennel, algae salt, mountain popoto. And the more I started looking into it, and I read the descriptions for it, I started seeing it as a nabemono dish, a one-pot dish that would be made with dashi, and kind of whatever veg would be traditionally available. Which, if we look at the veg that's in here, popotos, carrots, cabbage, and fennel, some of it's ground growing, some of it's buried, some of it's a root veg. And if you look at some of the areas in the steppe, you'll see that there's a little bit of farming going on, and those farming areas would be growing these types of veg. So it's whatever's really available. And that made me think about Chanko. Chanko is a stew that is primarily eaten by sumo wrestlers. There are actual recipes for it, but traditionally there is no recipe, as every single sumo gathering, every house of... sorry, I forgot the word.
Stable?
Stable. Thank you, Seyrr. Every stable that is, most of which were in like Ryogoku district of Tokyo, all of them have their own way of doing it. They're all similar, but all of them have their own unique twists to it, but mostly it's based on whatever's available. When it's the weeks that are actually leading up to or during the basho, most Chanko is actually made with chicken as a form of good luck, because you should be on two legs like a chicken, not on all fours like pork or beef would be. Because as a sumo wrestler, if you're on all fours,
you've
lose.
lost.
So I was
That's kind of cute that they work those superstitions into it.
You know, when you look at something that's based on, I mean, this was originally a religious practice 700-800 years ago. When you look at it throughout history and see how it's changed, it's wild. The little weird stuff like that ends up staying. But then you look at, well, how do we cook this? Well, we have propane grills now, and we have enameled cast iron now. Like, that's obviously not something we had 800 years ago, but that is how we would make it now. So I'm looking at the nabemono pots, I'm looking at Chanko, and I'm thinking, okay, this is really cool. It sort of fits. But so I have Chanko. I have warrior stew. The ingredients are very similar. It all lines up. And then again, it increases your crafting by 6%. What? So clearly, something else was supposed to happen to this item, and they just reached a balance issue probably and just went, crap, we have to put this in here somewhere. I guess it goes there. And that's the best thing I can think of.
It does kind of make sense that if it's like, if this is something that's usually eaten by sumo warriors or sumo wrestlers, to call it warrior stew, it's like, okay, they are warriors. It's like a sports type of warrior, but it's a thing written by these people who are engaging in this sport, combat sport.
Exactly. And again, just looking at the descriptions of a couple of the nabemonos that I was looking through that were similar, there's a lot of recipe sites online, gratefully, that you can put in basically whatever you have in your cabinets and your cupboards and your fridge and say, here's what I have, what can I make? And it dumps out a whole bunch of stuff. And I found some that was like, how do I make authentic Japanese cuisine? And it's like, well, what ingredients do you like using? And I was like, well, I like, tubers, and I like root veg, and I like leafy greens. And I was like, kind of put in some stuff. And this was mostly what I got out of it, was something very, very similar to Chanko.
Send me that site after the show, would you?
I will see if I can track it down again.
Awesome, thank you.
But yeah, it was pretty fun to really look into and really get the idea that the oden that you could find at Seven and I Holdings in the wintertime when it was really cold, you look at some of it in Ryogoku district where the main area for sumo happens. There's 6 bashos a year, 3 of them are there. You look at all the Seven and I Holdings nearby, and the ingredient selection feels more like Chanko. But if you get out to Ota City, you get out to Kanagawa, you get further away into Gunma or even Yokohama, it's not. The regional changes for what goes into these one-pot dishes is drastically different based on where you are. So I think one of the reasons that they use the Zochuk, because it's from the Azim Steppe, if you talk to a lot of the NPCs in the Azim Steppe, they haven't left this area for large portions of their life. So whatever is nearby and available, that is what they are eating.
Yeah, if they were to do something like this in Yangsha, they would use a very different protein. And a bunch of very different vegetables in it as well, because it's a very different climate.
Oh yeah, Yangsha is a different climate. Imagine making stew in Yangsha versus making stew in Ishgard versus making stew in, I don't know, Limsa.
And I feel like some of this might also come from some of the Japanese attitudes towards cuisine, where it's my understanding that the idea of like a regional specialty or things like that is much more important, much more of a consideration. Finding something that's like, this is the thing that we make around here. This is what our area is known for.
Like okonomiyaki.
I was actually going to touch on one other thing that's going to lead me into the next recipe that we're talking about, and that's miso. I spent a lot of time in Tokyo, like an unhealthy amount of time in Tokyo, to where bartenders recognize me months later. So
You sure it wasn't the green hair?
It actually wasn't. I've never had green hair in Japan. I don't know how that's happened. I've been 3 times, but somehow I've never had green hair in Japan. Our friend Same in the chat, she spent some time in Japan as well. She was in Kyoto. And then our good friend who is not available tonight, Pyrocat, she actually spent time in Misawa. To put this in perspective, we're talking about, if we look at the east coast of the US, we're talking about basically Maine, DC, and Miami. We're getting pretty far apart. So when we talk about miso, when we make miso soup, when we're making anything with it, I'm buying white miso. And Pyro is buying red miso. And Same is usually having both, or doesn't really have a preference or a difference, unless it depends on the specific dish. So when you look at all 3 of us, we've all spent an extended amount of time in Japan. We've all had the similar dishes. We've had them in home cooking and restaurants quality and style. But fermented bean paste, one very core ingredient, we all approach very, very differently, strictly because of where we are. So moving into the izakaya side of things, one of the more common types of food that you will find in izakaya is miso-based, and it's called tofu dengaku, which I have made before very, very well, and I've made before very, very poorly. I learned a few things.
Izakaya is a term that a lot of people might not be familiar with, so can you tell us what that is?
Izakaya is basically a bar. It's a local bar. It is known for usually small plate food. It's a local watering hole. The type of people that would be in there, your average customer base is going to be less than 50 people. You're going to find them every few blocks. They're usually very small. I found one in Ikebukuro, a very big district. I found one that had 7 seats in it. It's very, very specific to where you're at. But these little bars have something that they are usually well known for, whether it's food, drink, decor, having sumo on the TV. Shoutouts to my guys in Ikebukuro. Whether it's having a specifically clever bartender that's carving ice cubes into the shape of diamonds or whatnot. Each izakaya has their own unique specialty going on with it. So looking at tofu dengaku, it's just tofu bricks topped with miso. The miso is usually mixed with other seasonings like mirin, sesame oil, and something similar. And then they're grilled over open fire. The top of that miso is going to blister. It's not going to burn, but it's going to blister. And similar to like how you char broccoli to bring out the natural sugar content, by charring that miso, you get a very different content of flavor when you're eating that tofu. So in 14, we have something called miso dengaku. Well, dengaku means grilled, or grilled over open fire. Effectively, it's the style. Well, you can't just grill miso. That would just be throwing miso paste over charcoal, and that's just gross and is going to make a mess. What they chose to do instead is they used not only tofu, but they also used a couple of veggies that they decided to grill as well and keep on skewers. If you look at the icon for it, which is incredibly tiny, and my apologies, I'm actually going to link this in the chat really quick.
From our friends at Gamer Escape?
Follow up. Oh, of course, for our friends at Gamer Escape. Shout out to Fusion.
Who happened to leave Hyperion. Boo.
Yeah, whatever.
Traitor.
So, yes. Wow. So, the Miso Dengaku icon is a small round plate with 3 skewers. And on the far right, you have what is clearly going to be your tofu. It's a large white brick, there's a small amount of brown sauce, and it's garnished with something green, probably scallions or garlic chives or something. Then there's one that's kind of oval shaped. It's a little bit more brown. We'll get to that one in a second. And then there's one, the closest one, the far left, is 2 small circles. So looking through the ingredients, we have firm tofu, okay, dolmen eggplant, daikon radish, so we know what are on our skewers now, and we have miso paste, beet sugar, and cooking sake. Pretty straightforward to figure out which part is the sauce and which part is going onto the skewers. If you were making a miso paste sauce, you would want some kind of sugar content. I've used everything from maple syrup to honey to create that sugar content. Beet sugar is also a good option. And if you used actual beetroot, you might get a cool red color out of it, unless you use the golden beet, and then you might get like a nice warm tone. Cooking sake, it's alcohol, it's got bite. Cooking sake is usually on the drier end of the scale, but you can use any kind of probably filtered sake to make a glaze like this to go over your items. So if we're looking at the radish, has anybody ever tried to cut a daikon radish before?
Nope.
No.
No. Okay.
I know they're really huge.
They are the size of your forearm. They are enormous. I have used bigger knives to cut radishes than I have to butcher pigs. These things are huge and they are dense, which is why a lot of the things you see in modern media is the little old man with about 6 inches of radish. He has it in his left hand and he's holding the nakiri blade, where it's a not pointed blade squared off, and he's turning the radish in the palm of his left hand while holding the knife in his right.
Oh, making
like the thing where he's making like, yeah.
The paper thin sheet starts coming off of it and he goes through the whole thing, and then you have that whole paper sheet and you cut it into strips very, very small, rinse it once in cold, clean water, and that's how you would end up using that radish, because doing it any other way is really, really challenging on your palate, and it's really hard to chew and you don't get the right taste. It's tough. But if you're cooking it, now you can change how you're preparing it, because now you don't need to get it so thin. If you're doing it raw or you're pickling it, that's when it needs to be thin. But we're grilling this, hence the Dengaku. Looking at the skewers.
I've got a book on Japanese food carving that shows about what you can make with things like that. You get these really pretty white ribbons. It's kind of cool.
It's amazingly gorgeous. It's really fun. You can mix it into rice noodles. You can actually use it in a lot of Vietnamese cooking. It's a cool little ingredient. And if you have a Asian supermarket near you, podcast listeners and anybody on Twitch, definitely check them out. Look at them. If you don't feel comfortable cooking them, that's fine. But at least get an idea of what these things look like, because they are enormous. So if I look at our skewers, it looks to me like what we're going to want to do with the radish, because it's going to have so much bite, is that we're going to cut that into our coins. We're going to have that be our round piece. You're going to want it to be thin enough that it's going to be able to cook on the grill and absorb some of the sauce, maybe even marinate in the sauce to really help break it down, because that sugar is going to help the chemical bonds inside of that radish break a little bit, so it's easier to chew, but it's still going to be hard enough that it's going to stay in place when you cook it. So our thinking probably just under maybe between a half inch and a quarter inch, about a centimeter or so. You don't want it to be too thick, but you don't want it to be too thin. Also depends on how strong your heat source is, will determine, and how long you feel comfortable having it over that heat source. The eggplant's the tricky one, because if we've narrowed down which one's the tofu and which one's the radish, this eggplant is this big oblong oval looking thing. If we wanted to get that on a skewer, that's going to need to be a little bit thicker, simply because the inside of an eggplant is mostly seed and water. It doesn't have enough firmness to really hold that skewer in unless you get it relatively thick. But because it's an eggplant and it is mostly water and it's going over open flame, you can make it very thick and it's going to cook through, because once you've salted it, or rather by putting the miso, which is salty on its own, over it, it's going to break down and it's going to leach all that water very, very quickly. So make it into an oval, probably by cutting off the stem end, and then maybe getting 4 to 5 full planks of eggplant out of any given Japanese style eggplant. Which an American eggplant, you see they're pretty bulbous at the one end and they're a little smaller at the top. They're usually pretty big. They're shaped like a teardrop. A Japanese eggplant is shaped honestly more like a yellow squash, where it's a little bigger on one side than the other, but it's still pretty even across the board.
And they're not very big either.
No, they're much smaller. They're maybe, I'm going to say, a foot long. If you find a giant one, most of them are about 8 to 10 inches. They're not very big.
Well, don't a lot of them actually, aren't they like in the 4 to 5 inch range too?
You can find really small ones. It depends on your grower, depends on your season, depends on if they're hothouse. When you have an island country that's producing a vegetable, you get whatever size you get and you're happy with it. Because
I
Remember,
just want
guys-
you all to know I am being so good about not making too many jokes about eggplant.
Don't worry, I'm going to do it. Remember, guys, it's not the size that counts, but the
oh
flavor.
yeah.
Thank you, Chille.
I literally
Trying
just
so
went in
hard to be
chat.
good.
I just went in chat because I wanted to see what Same's response to that, and the big smiley face was probably it. It is great in everything is great in curry, Same. We know this. This is why I bought a curry. That's why I bought a curry cookbook. I bought a almost inch thick cookbook that has nothing but curry.
It is even better if you make it and then put it in the fridge overnight.
It does. When you have things that rest overnight, you can marry some of those flavors together, and it does change your flavor. It's one of the reasons why you talk to some people and they say cold spaghetti is better, and it's like, well, no, but what they're getting at is that your sauce marries itself a little bit differently.
Well, it's like if you do fried rice, you're supposed to cook it the day before and let it cool down and then recook it fried the next day.
There's an actual physiological or physical reason for that.
Yeah,
because
there's an
it's
actual there's a molecular gastronomy reason why you're actually using cold rice. The rice doesn't need to be day before, but frankly, it's a starch. It's a pain in the butt to actually get cold all the way to its core. And frankly, heads up, by the way, I'm going to go a little bit chef crazy here. Starch is one of the highest foodborne contaminant items ever at danger zone temperatures. So whether it's rice or potatoes or whatever, if it's hot, it's over 140 degrees when you get it, and then you leave it on your kitchen counter for 3 hours because you forgot you ordered extra rice, don't eat that rice later. It's not going to be good because it sat warm for hours, and you'll probably be okay, but probably okay is not great. And frankly, it's starch. It's rice and potatoes. You're not out a ton of money. It's not worth it. Don't get sick.
I'm told that in a lot of Japanese households, they'll make a thing of rice, but then leave it in the setting that keeps it warm all day. Does that keep it out of the danger zone?
It does. When it's sealed, it will stay out of that. It'll stay warm enough that it's okay, and it traps the moisture in there, and it keeps that moisture hot enough. That's what a lot of those rice cookers are designed to do, especially the dojinshi, or not dojinshi, the
Zojirushi?
Zojirushi, yeah. They've got
the tiger,
those things. Yeah. You can text that thing to make rice for you, and it'll find a way. It's those things are so advanced, and they can do this kind of stuff. The little one that you got on Amazon for $8, probably not the kind of thing that you want to leave rice in for 2 or 3 hours. When you look at sushi restaurants, high volume ones, they don't even make their own rice most of the time. Someone else makes their rice and they bring it in because they have to make it in such a high quantity. They have to drop its temperature so fast that you can't actually do that reasonably in most restaurant sizes. There's actually a company in Los Angeles. If you read The Story of Sushi by Trevor Corson, there is a company in LA. Their entire job, they start at 4:30 in the morning. All they do is sushi rice. That is all they do. They operate 13 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all they do is make rice, pan it, drop its temperature in a blast chiller, throw it into these big blue cold holding boxes, stack it up on pallets, and companies come in every single day and pick up all the sushi rice they need. So, ruined the illusion. Fun thing about talking to chefs is that all the cool stuff that comes out of the kitchen, every bit of it comes out of a plastic bottle. Sorry, bad news for you.
Also, everyone's on cocaine.
Only in some industries. Pizza's not so bad. Pizza, it's usually weed.
Yeah.
Burger restaurants, it's usually alcohol. So that
I need to go to America to try your burger restaurant.
So Taliz
They were
is getting
going to
drunk.
learn this sometime.
It's true. So if you're gonna make miso dengaku, if you're going to make this, most people don't have an open fire grill that they're just having to hang out on. especially right now. It's still kind of wintertime. It's pretty cold. Don't grill indoors. Oh my God. Please don't. Someone was going to, so I have to say it because now plausible deniability. But if you're going to do this,
you will get yourself killed.
you will. You absolutely will. I did see a restaurant. There's actually one in Chicago that actually has 2 Weber grills inside their kitchen on their line, but they're under their hoods. So they're actually sucking all of the vapor out. So that's fine. Does look a little strange to have a Weber grill in the middle of a modern kitchen, but there it was. So if you want to make tofu dengaku, or you want to make miso dengaku, the sauce is pretty straightforward. You're going to want some kind of oil, some kind of liquid, hopefully flavored, whether it's chicken stock or sake, something to that effect. Miso, your choice, red, white, mixed. Depends on where you're from and what flavor profile you want. Red's going to be a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more punchy. White's going to be a little bit more mild.
Yep, red is aged longer.
Exactly. You're going to want to mix your sauce together and keep that separate and let that sit for a couple hours to really sort of get to know each other. And then everything else you'll want to have sliced. You want to have all of your mise en place done because you're working with open fire. And if you have to step away to do something, something will drop, something will spark, oil will happen, your skewer will catch fire if you're not using metal. Please, 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 please be careful. Once you have your miso done, you do want to squeeze some of your moisture out. Like if you were going to fry it or pan fry it, you want to wrap it in paper towels, put something slightly heavy on top of it and squeeze most of that water out so that you could soak it up in a marinade, like a soy ginger glaze marinade. But the problem with that is that now there's not enough water content in tofu, so when you grill it, you get a little hard, chewy brick of grossness. Nobody needs that. What you would want to do is keep some of the water in and keep most of it in. Take your brick, put it onto a rack over a pan, just let it sit on that rack and let the air kind of take out a lot of the moisture. Put your skewers into the brick as the brick is whole, and then just cut between them. If you want to do a great big brick like the one in the icon for Eorzea, maybe do 2 sticks instead of the one in the center. You're going to have better balance. It's going to be easier. And like a popsicle, if you have 2, you have 2 things to hold on to as opposed to just having the one where you take that one bite and inevitably it just slides onto your hand. So definitely you want to look at having 2 for that just because of the size. Or cut them into slightly smaller pieces and put 2 or 3 1-inch pieces across your skewer as opposed to one big one. Your eggplant, I highly recommend salting after it's been cut. You're going to leach out a lot of your moisture, so it is going to be firm enough, but it's going to not lose too much moisture to where it won't taste good and be chewy.
And for those in England, it's an aubergine.
Aubergine, yes. Aubergines and courgettes. And there's a lot of different words for stuff. So if you don't know what this ingredient is, message me on the Phoenix Down Radio Discord, and I will happily help you find stuff. You'd want to make sure that your miso glaze is on your veggies before you go to the fire. Because once a side has been heated, if you put the miso glaze on it, it's going to slide off. What you want is to have it stick, and you want to have it do that little bit of blistering. If you don't have open flame, if you don't have a gas grill, or you don't have gas burners, if you want to get real fancy, you can actually use your oven. Recommend using it on your broiler setting and turn it up as hot as it will possibly go. Please, please, please use caution. Use gloves, use mitts, use towels, whatever you feel most comfortable and in control with. Put your items on a sheet tray, either lined with foil and hit with some kind of pan release, or on some kind of rack, like I mentioned earlier, for the tofu draining, and also some kind of pan release because they will start to stick because of how heat works. Put those on there, get them under your broiler, and make sure that miso blisters. Remember that these are vegetables. You don't actually have to cook them all the way to eat them. It's just going to change a little bit about how they taste. Tofu can be eaten without being heated through. Eggplant can be eaten without being heated through. And so can daikon. Daikon, a little bit tougher because it's going to be thicker, unlike the thin ribbons that we talked about earlier. But you don't have to cook all these things all the way through. Your goal here is to heat them up and to char that sauce, not to necessarily heat them thoroughly. So be very careful, especially if you're using your oven and you have wooden skewers. Wrap those in foil so they don't catch fire. But you can do them in your oven. And if you do, please, please, please send me pictures because I want to see you guys make some of this stuff.
Very cool.
Broiler equals oven grill. Courgette does not equal eggplant. No, courgette is a zucchini. I know that. I'm now catching up. Now, courgettes are zucchinis. And fresh coriander is
Evil.
Oh God, you're one of those lizard people that doesn't like cilantro, huh?
I cannot stand cilantro. And actually, my birth mom is allergic to it, so.
Yeah, it's like a genetic thing. It's like 1 in 4 people.
Right, but the thing is it was like 1 in 100 people, and then somebody on the internet said, hey, this is a thing, and now nobody likes it. I was like, everybody loved it 10 years ago. What changed?
It was
I feel like it got to more people. Like, more people actually started being able to have cilantro.
Yeah. As opposed to, well, not everybody can get this except for, people that love Tex-Mex or people that have really good produce markets.
Just like avocado toast is ruining the economy.
Wait, coriander's always been pretty big in England.
Yep.
And quick thing I want to share, because I remember reading a book about the history of the joy of cooking, and one of the things they talked about was, in a lot of the earlier editions, they wouldn't actually talk about, like, oh, you should use these particular spices or other things like that, because if you were the person who actually had most of those spices, it was assumed that you were a competent enough cook that you knew how to use them, because they were hard to get, they were expensive, it was something for people who were super serious about it. And now it's something where a lot of spices are really, really accessible. And so they actually do have to start including those instructions. It's like, hey, you can reasonably get it for not too expensive and not necessarily know a lot about how it should be used.
There was an ingredient that I needed for a wedding called fenugreek. And boy, I can find fenugreek seeds freaking everywhere. Whether it was Whole Foods or some independent retailers, I found a little import market that's barely a building on a parking lot where everything is shady and half of the store is on pallets. Boy, I could find it there. I can find seeds for this stuff. I could not find the leaf, and I didn't know what to do. I finally found it, and I could order it, but I forgot how leaf spices weigh differently than dried spices. So my stupid self was like, 6 ounces? Oh, I'm going to need more than that. So,
no.
But I didn't realize a 6-ounce pouch is like a foot tall and like 8 inches wide. This thing is enormous. So I have fenugreek for like years now. The good news is it's basically an Indian oregano. It's a sweet leaf spice. So, Nick Nar, thank you for the donation to Extra Life. Yay!
Yeah, $25 to Extra Life. Thanks, Nick Nar.
And with that donation, we've actually reached $100 already for Extra Life, going to the Benioff Children's Hospital in Oakland.
Nice.
Thank you, Nick.
So it's pretty much like just added to everything Indian dishes.
Pretty much, it goes into butter chicken. It goes into a lot of the tandoori sauces, but it's literally just a sweet leaf Indian oregano. I've actually taken, because I have so much of it, I started using it as oregano, and I have a little spice grinder for it, which I got from a friend of mine's dispensary because it was Pokeball shaped, and I thought it was funny, and it works really well.
Very nice.
And so I've used it for that, and I've used it in chilies. I've also used it. I've used a lot of things.
What you meant.
Wink.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable.
You need an adult.
I'm an adult.
I've also used it in spaghetti sauces and marinaras and stuff. And boy, that changes a lot. When you're used to using an oregano or oregano-based Italian seasoning blend, and you're switching to using fenugreek, you get a kind of peppery-esque flavor that comes out of it. It's got a little bit more bite to it. So when you're looking for spices, be very, very careful how much you buy, because you might end up with enough fenugreek to kill an army when you needed enough to just feed an army.
Point taken. All right.
All right, and that pretty much does it for my prep table this week. If anybody has anything that they want to hear about or recipes that they're interested in, definitely message me on Discord or tweet at me, and let's see what we can find.
Thanks again, Taliz. We appreciate you jumping in and helping us with this segment.
Absolutely.
Food in Eorzea is really popular right now. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more posts in the Discord and across Twitter of people that are actually trying and to make the dishes from Final Fantasy XIV in real life.
Someone's made I'm gonna have to find it, but someone made a cookbook.
Yeah, we actually talked
And
about
posted it on
that
Reddit.
the first week that Taliz was on.
I actually looked through that cookbook, and it's really interesting. But they definitely they did what a lot of us cooks do. We don't steal, we get inspired by. And I got on a first name basis with the guy that owns the Indian restaurant near my house when I had to cater a wedding and make Indian food because I needed to know how to make all this stuff. So we don't get steal, we get inspired. The cookbook they made will be like, oh, here's how you make this, and it's an all recipes link. Or it's a recipe to like a Maddie Matheson recipe or Brad Leone or somewhere on Bon Appetit. And I'm kind of going, okay, that's really cool that you found these. But the recipe from Eorzea includes these 2 items that there's no real counterpart for. But it's definitely an amazing jumping off point and can definitely help people get started understanding, hey, these are real recipes. Like, this is real stuff.
Seyrr is trying to make some of the food.
That I feel like going to Ishgard was the perfect opportunity to give us cheese fondue, and they didn't do.
Agreed. Fondue's delicious.
Why not? Why not just fondue? Why not those weird marshmallow things as well?
You're gonna need to be way more specific.
Yeah, dude, fondue is like cheese, brother. I don't know what's going on there.
Marshmallow on a stick that you melt.
Oh, s'mores.
S'mores
are just amazing.
Yep. Which, by the way, if you ever get the idea that you want to make s'mores using chocolate chip cookies, don't. I thought I was going to die. There's so much sugar, I honestly thought I was going to be sick.
That sounds amazing.
No, you gotta sugar amounts at some point. Otherwise, it's just pure sweet without any actual depth of flavor.
All right, we're going to move on, guys, because we're running long.
We're running hecka long.
All right, so we did get some comments out on Twitter this week. Super Nerd Dalton at Super Nerd Dalton said everyone should check out Hyper Pixie Games, She Heals I Tank, GTFFXIV, Maelstrom Radio, Phoenix Down Radio, Move Around Chille at Move Around, and Musecast XIV. All great pod streams. Oh, and say hello to Susan Sprinkle.
Hey, Susan Sprinkles.
Hello, Miss Sprinkle.
Your name is amazing.
Also, I'm so happy that I'm the one that was shouted out individually. Yay.
And Mars Angel at Mars Blood replied back to last episode's comment about the XP buffs with the new items that we're getting with the pre-order bonus. Currently with Alamegan earrings, Food Company buff, Food buff, Free Company buff, Food Company, what am I talking about? Food buff.
I would join a food company.
Exactly. And you're in a preferred world, you get about 330 to 400% XP without the ring. And in a preferred world, you get 250 plus. So lots and lots of XP boosts right now. And that wasn't even including the armory bonus.
Yeah. And that's the rest bonus, yeah.
Is the armory bonus additive or multiplicative?
It's added to.
Yeah.
Okay.
The armory bonus, also, I believe, is 50%.
Also,
I think it's 100% until a certain point, and then it's 50%.
Also, you can buy that armor that also gives you an XP boost.
Yeah, the new armor at from the smith. Is that what you're talking about?
No, the mod station.
Oh, pay to win.
Yeah, remember the Eastern Togi armor gives you XP bonus.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, if you got the whole set.
For the noises, I got hungry and second dinner.
All right.
I should have first dinner.
Generally a good idea, yes. Hydrate, people.
Yep, stay hydrated, fam. All right.
Hydration.
So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you like what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us either out on iTunes, Google Play Music, Podbean, or whatever your preferred podcatcher is. And if possible, we'd appreciate if you left us a rating or a review, because it helps us to know how we're doing with you guys, and it helps other people find our podcast. We want to be as many people to see us as possible, so leave those ratings and reviews. If you really dig the show, you could consider becoming a patron out at patreon.com/PhoenixStarRadio, like the amazing Aurori Fenrir, or you can show us a little love here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio and subscribe to us. You'll get access to those amazing new emotes that we just got approved this morning, and maybe some more in the future, depending on how many more people we get to sub. But any proceeds we get for that go towards growing the show, covers a lot of the behind the scenes things, and helps us do fun things like giveaways. So we appreciate anything that we would get. Any type of support, whether it's a sub, Patreon support, likes, emails, retweets, anything like that is greatly appreciated, and we love interacting with you guys. If you want to check out all of our backlog of episodes, you can check us out at PhoenixDownRadio.com. On Twitter, you can check us out at PHXDN Radio. And all of our videos, as well as a few interesting ones, are all on our YouTube page, youtube.com/PhoenixDownRadio. So, who wants to do shout-outs first? Don't all start at once.
I'm ladling stuff. Someone else go.
Chille.
I'm always first. Can someone else go first?
Okay, you have a lot of shout-outs.
Okay, so shout outs to SamMay923 in the chat, who has been my taste tester for a lot of this nonsense that I've been cooking lately. Shout outs to Slippers for loaning me his car. Yes, I still have his car. Shout outs to Bannon Maelstrom on Hyperion for being an awesome paladin, despite what that idiot in MSQ said. And shout outs to Luna wherever she may be.
Mateus, I think, right now.
I'll do shout outs then, I guess. Shout out to Maelstrom Radio at twitch.tv/Maelstrom. Shout out to She Heals a Tank at twitch.tv/She
Slow down, Chille.
Aww. Shout out to Musecast XRV. Shout out to Gather Together. Shout out to everyone here. Rory, Sammy, Talus, everyone that's in the chat. So yeah, those are shout outs. Oh, by the way, I'm thinking about going to KupoCon. So yeah, shout out to KupoCon.
Shout out to Alex Main.
Oh, where can they find you guys? You forgot to mention your Twitters and such.
Chille finished.
You can contact me at mtr_Chille or ben.shillebearhall@psu.com.
And Taliz?
I am at... Actually, I just changed my Twitter handle. Let me double check it to make sure I say the right one. My old Twitter handle was boring, so I decided to change it. I haven't changed my Twitter handle, lol. I am at Taliz Marvelous, Taliz Marvelous.
How is that boring? That's pretty marvelous.
Exactly.
Seyrr, are you done ladling? Can you do a shout out?
Yes. So, shout out to my friend Ellen, Gamertag Entropic. Thank you for all your help over the last couple of weeks. You know what I'm talking about. Shout out to the good people at America's Test Kitchen for continuing to put out books that I keep seeing in our new book display, being like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to read this one. And then I check it out and it sits on my bedside table for about a month. Really, at this point, it's more about the act of acquiring it than anything else. Shout out to all of the lore mongers who put up with my nonstop verbal shit posting. Shout out to the people from the Crucible's Discord server who mostly drink water when I tell them to. You guys are awesome. Shout out to all of you wonderful people listening to right now and to my fellow hosts. You guys make this worth doing week after week. You can find me on Twitter at FFXIV SEYRR. Send me your questions about lore, your suggestions for segments, whatever you want to hear about, because as I said, we're kind of in a weird place right now and I don't really know what to talk about. So if there's a burning question that you've had, if there's a question that you think is silly, ask it anyways.
What is the real reason goblins want cheese?
Because cheese is amazing! Oh my God!
There's my lore section done.
Cheese. Miracle product. Preserves food. Adds acid to things that need acid. Gives a nice burst of salt. Oh my... Taliz, back me up here. Cheese is amazing.
Behold the power of cheese.
Cheese can be used as a seasoning or as an ingredient.
Exactly!
Also in England, once per year, you have an event in Gloucestershire where you run down a hill trying to chase some cheese.
There
The
are
cheese can
so
reach-
many. There are so many injuries due to drunkenness from that.
The cheese can reach 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Seyrr, you and I need to go do this, dude. That sounds hilarious.
Apparently, the winner gets to keep the wheel of cheese.
They do, and
It's
they get
a big
100
wheel.
pounds.
Of
From
cheese?
eating the cheese?
No,
Yeah.
in that- Yeah. No, the cheese is what I think it's 9 pounds of cheese. You
I
get.
want 100 pounds of cheese.
It's doable. Go to Italy. Look for Parmigiano Reggiano.
Get a
If it
full
falls
wheel.
on you, you will die.
Yeah. But what a way to go. And
Cheese can also be a monomill, Sammy says.
It can be a... Yes, actually, it can be. If there's enough salt, naturally occurring sugar, protein, whey, and moisture in it that, like, technically some kinds of
And
cheese,
fat.
you can literally... Yeah, and fat. You can literally just eat cheese, and you'll be okay. But it's kind of like, oh, a mono meal can also be an egg. Well, yeah, but don't do it for like 4 days. Like, you're gonna be really sick.
If it's something where it's like a matter of survival, yes, bring that block of cheese with you.
Well, you should bring the block of cheese with you anyway. But yeah.
Oh yes, that stuff keeps for a long time.
And a
Dried
sleeve of
cheese.
Ritz crackers.
Mmm.
And
Good
I want to
stuff.
shout out to all of my co-hosts. You guys are amazing. We are going to be hitting 90 episodes on the next episode, which is March 9th. Yeah, 90 episodes, and we've been doing this every other week. So, and we're in like 3.5 years now. That's pretty crazy. I never thought that we would be going this long. So, thank you to you guys for keeping this going and making this a thing. Shout out to everybody who is watching us here live at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio, as well as listening out on the podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying our shenanigans, random content, and all this fun stuff that we talk about every other week. Shout out to the cheesemakers, because cheese is delicious.
You are doing God's work there. I'm an
yes.
agnostic, but you're doing God's work.
All right. And like I said, just thank you so much for joining us. For my co-host, for our guest, Taliz Marvelous, for Chille, and for Seyrr, I'm Klauss Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us again. Take care.
Praise Cheese
Phoenix Down Radio
Scorpion.
is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.